Live. So, I am still presently in the midst of, presently in the midst of, how embarrassing. Anyway, I am still presently, in the midst of, dog sitting for my aunt. So, for today's stream, I'm just gonna be chilling, playing, Creeper World 4, because I really like this series. I believe Saba's supposed to be showing up relatively soon. We'll probably just chit chat for a while. And then around 7, Adrian should show up, I believe. And then we'll finish off the stream. This is only gonna be like a 3-hour long stream, so. All right. That being said, let's go. Okay. Where do I want to go? This seems kind of important. Because that's how I'm going to make AC. But this is how I prevent myself from getting shot by these guys. Well, that is a conundrum, isn't it? Alright, well. That gives me blue white. Maybe I can just make the AC bomber like that. Do a little bit of this. A little bit of this. There we go.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Saba. Would you mind doing me a favor and just checking stream real quick to see whether or not my audio sounds good?
Sure, I will do that right now. Yes, you are here.
Let me turn her down a little bit. Saba still has her her other mic, so I'll turn that down. But yeah, I don't know, because I feel like recently my audio's been a little off, and so I just wanted to see if there was possibly a reason for that.
I think it sounds actually quite decent.
Saba, your audio, what the hell? What?
I think on stream I sound fine as well.
Definitely not.
So it's a bit echoey, I guess.
It's not the echoey part, it's you're way louder and clearer than you ever have been before. Are you sure this is the same mic you've used before?
Well, this is the same mic, but I'm currently plugged into like a Mac now, so I don't know if
maybe there's some different audio driver or something, because it is definitely different. But I mean, I guess it's fine. I turned you down, so now it's not blowing out my ears.
I definitely
so
think I'm a little bit loud, so that sounded like a good
You're
call.
Loud now, or you were loud earlier?
Before. Okay. And then you said you changed it, which I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, so this is the game that we're playing today. Ace Creeper World. Say hello.
I have not seen this game before.
It's part of a series that I have enjoyed for many years. This is the most recent game in the series, and it's really easy to just play while talking, so I figure since today's stream is a sham anyway, might as well just make it a chill sham.
That's cool. Oh, how long did you say you wanted to do it for? Is it normal, like 2-3 hours?
I mean, that's a big difference, 2 and 3 hours. But today's stream, I'm planning on having it be 3 hours. It can be 5 to 8 because that lines up with my schedule for the dog watching as well.
That sounds fine. May I request, I don't know if you want to play this the entire time, but if no one else shows up, may I request, you know, some Pokemans as like a special request?
I do not have it set up, so we will not be able to play.
Aw.
Yeah, sorry about
That's
that, but
sad.
yeah. Let me destroy this and set this up.
Gonna have Pokemon
I
sooner or
mean,
later.
I mean, it's not too hard to set up. Like, it's just a lot of unplugging, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Playing a level of this isn't exactly fast, so we'll have to see. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, because I figured tomorrow, like even if I could show up, I
Which
know we
you don't
still
need
want
to
to
feel like you
finish.
have to.
No, that's not. It's like I may be like depending on what we do tomorrow, I may have like nothing to do in the afternoon. It may just be like a chill thing for me. But I was thinking anyway. Like I know we want to finish Link, which I'm like on board with.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Do I not? Does that not reach? There's no way that doesn't fucking reach, dude.
So I'm currently working. My cousin like came to me and was like, "Hey, I know someone who would like want to commission." Because she's like, "I know you do art," and I'm putting art in like air quotes because by the time I talked to her before, I was technically an art major, but not really, not so much anymore. But she's like, "Yeah," and like she wants to design a logo for something, and like I recommended like you do it, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
I mean, that's
And I
still
was like,
cool.
It is. It's just now I'm like, dang, this process was way longer than I thought, and I'm only saying that because I'm leaving on Monday. So I'm like I'm like, I just want this to be done. I want this to be over with so I don't have to worry about it, because then the other person doesn't have to wait like 3 weeks for me to get back to them. I'm not panicking at all.
Certainly not panicking. Ooh, what are these things? I don't know what that is. They don't seem good, though. Ooh.
So give me like a gist of like the concept of this game.
Sure. So this is a so it's a base building game, but the basic premise is that these things are constantly emitting this purple liquid called Creeper. Creeper will deal oh, hello, Grant.
Oh, Grant.
Creeper will deal damage to your structures over time. You lose when your home base is destroyed, and you win when you complete these objectives over here. So these emitters are constantly putting out Creeper, just constantly putting out the fluid. And so I have to use various weapons and tactics to try and hold back the Creeper as I slowly creep my way across the environment to nullify these things and destroy the Creeper and stuff like that. So the biggest part of this game is efficiency, which is why you see everything being set up in like a grid. It's all about efficiency, and it's all about getting the most energy output for the land that you have. That's what these towers are doing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Creeper being a mist is kind of interesting.
A mist?
Well, it's kind. I mean, sludge, whatever.
I'm about to say, it's
it
like a
looks like a
goo.
mist to me. But
It's translucent, but it's definitely a liquid.
that's definitely better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like the mist, except that had monsters in it. Versus this is just spreading goo, as you said.
It is just spreading goo. That is true. All right, we got all of that. You know what would be kind of neat?
Hello, Saba.
Hello, Saba.
What's up with you?
What's up with me?
Huh?
Not much. I don't know. I got a new workout plan, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. So I decided to change my workout, and so I'm doing a lot more cardio now, and so it's probably for the best. Where previously it was more or less just strength training. So cardio is good, and I've never been a good runner, so why not try? You know.
Yeah, yeah, my sister was getting a little bit into running, and apparently she's like, it's just the way that runners run is wholly different than, how like we were not like how we were
Humans.
taught to run, but like in school you kind of just like ran the hardest that you could.
Right.
Versus like runners, they like barely move like their legs. They push it forward a little bit and they keep up just like a slow kind of steady pace.
It's not like sprinting or anything.
Yeah, it's not like anything like that. So I heard it's not that bad, and you can actually go way farther than you think as long as you're deploying the right methods.
I hope so, because it's like a 14-week workout, and obviously this is week 1, and so it's just like chill, and so I can do it. But it's like later in the week, it's like, yeah, do a 17-minute run, and I'm like, ooh.
17 minutes.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm
It's
wondering
like,
how efficient it is to have like a buddy partner to go with, like to
Might
do
be.
workouts with. Like
It
at
might help.
like at one point, it's like you're kind of just like, well, I've got a little bit more control over what I do by myself, and if I don't feel like it, I don't want to do it. But it's like, I guess you just have to find the right buddy partner. But if
Definitely.
you're feeling lazy, they're also feeling lazy, so you both just give up.
what is Grant, a Pokemon trainer?
Yes, the bright partner.
Yes.
As you know, Zach, I worked out with Bobby several times, and man, I cannot keep up with him for obvious reasons.
It's almost like it was his entire lifestyle.
Yeah. Where he'd be like, all right, let's do next this, and I'm like, bro, I am going to throw up in this gym.
Bro, I am going to throw up.
I
that's
will
really funny.
die. Yeah, that is.
Because he was just like, all right, we'll do this next, then this, superset this, do this, and I'm like, bro, please,
Bro. Leave me alone, please. I'm gonna die.
Yeah. But I hope to do more cardio, because like I said, yeah, I've never been good at it, so why not just try it?
Yeah, for sure. I hope it like works out. I know I can never stay consistent with myself. Like I start doing it and it's like I feel good doing the exercise, but then it's just like the next day, and then I don't know, my motivation like dies or something, or I'm like, oh well, I have to go somewhere in the morning, and for the most part, like morning is when I want to do the exercise, and for the most part, I like doing the exercise and then taking like my showers. So if I have to, or if I'm forced to like take my shower at night, then I'm like, well, now I don't want to take the exercise in the morning because I already took my shower. It is quite annoying.
Yeah. It's hard to stay motivated.
Agreed.
Just I guess with anything. But yeah.
Let's get some bombers going.
Some people.
There's no people in this game. Everything is either goo or robot.
Well, it's
I am
bomb
group.
some things.
I am group.
I am group. Here we go.
Oh, turret.
Oh.
Yeah, so
this
this turret is supercharged, so it should be pretty effective.
Is the creep easy to take out?
In small amounts, yes, but the more creep. Oh fuck! I forgot about these things.
You fool.
Yeah, I forgot about it's been a while since I played this, so I forgot about these blob guys. If you don't kill them ahead of time, they just immediately destroy. Like, watch this guy. He's gonna slowly
It'll land where you are.
Well, they're gonna slowly make their way across. Yep, look, so they're cutting off stuff and they blow that up. So now everything over here is cut off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
like I said, I didn't plan for it, and now I'm paying the price. So it's like, my bad. I can handle it though. You're supposed to be able to recover from this sort of stuff on a regular basis, so
We got this. We good.
Yeah. Wheezy.
Weep.
I am weeping. All right, so
Nintendo
we got
Wii.
some Nintendo Weep.
Nintendo Wii.
What happened to Nintendo Sleep?
I don't know. Did that ever come out?
Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Real shit.
Pokemon Sleep,
I think it
Pokemon
did.
Real shit. I
I
don't.
think it came out.
I don't. If I'll say, I don't remember what happened to it.
I know Pokemon Home came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's
I
because
think
that was like
Pokemon's
their
good.
That was like their replacement, or not replacement. I guess it was supplementary, but to the Poke whatever. Okay, I'm gonna bomb this. Let's go.
Remember the Pokewalker?
The little pedometer doodad.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude was fucking sick.
And it turned out to be like one of the most accurate pedometers.
Like,
ever
why?
made.
It's almost like it's from that era of Nintendo where it was unbelievable quality
to say
for
when they
some
cared.
reason. Like,
It's really funny.
like, why is this so good? I don't know. Why not? Like, okay,
Why not?
if you say
Why
so.
wouldn't it be?
We're Nintendo. We're known for high quality. All right. So
me sad.
these bombers are dropping anti-creeper, which is literally exactly what you would expect, where it's creeper but eats creeper instead. Ooh, that's bad. Oh, that's very
Creeper
bad.
feature.
Oh,
Wave
no.
of creep.
Yeah, so this stash, when
Wave?
when the stash is submersed in creep, it'll build up to 2,000, and then it outputs 4,000 very quickly.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
Anyway, enough talking about the game. No one gives a shit about this game. So let's talk about something else.
Stop talking about the game.
Everybody stop talking about this game. No one gives a shit about this game. Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what would be really good? A
Talking about the
rift.
game.
Shut up!
Talking about this game.
Listen, man.
Mm.
Let's banter topic.
E for everyone.
E E E E E E
E.
E. Oh, come on. Fuck you people. Are you shitting me? All this is now destroyed because of one mistake. God damn it. Fuck this game.
Oh.
Nice.
So you'll see them. They look like little paper airplanes flying through the environment. If you see them, make sure to call them out because they're quite bad, or like they're quite detrimental, I suppose. Because the whole dealio with them is that can we see? Yeah, so here, so you see how these things are like sparkly and misty right now? That means that they will not connect to anything around them, and they will not shoot if they're a weapon. So one of them hit this sniper, so it didn't shoot the other ones, which is why this area is now destroyed. This entire game
Well, that's
is just a
unfortunate.
cavalcade of problems. And that's part of the reason why I like playing it.
It's so many problems, but I can solve them.
But exactly. Like that's exactly the mentality, because I'm like,
Oh. Creep.
all right. In theory, this is, oh my god! They did it again! You freaking fricks!
Mama
Frickety
lay down,
frack.
killed a parrot.
But how? Like, that's not fair. I have this sniper here. Like, look how big and strong this sniper is. He should be able to shoot them no problems.
Look how cool he is.
Look how cool this guy is! Alright, I got another special. Actually, I should save my special, but anyway. Alright, let's banter. About what? I have no idea, but let's do it anyway.
All right, let me scroll up. Where the hell are we?
Oh, I have notifications from Spotify, so I gotta turn that off.
From
The heck are these?
Spotify.
No.
Do we ever do? Are there more bottles with drinkable contents or undrinkable contents?
We never did, but I do still want to talk about that.
I know we talked about half full and half empty. I think that's a topic that came up a little while ago. Not
Half
that.
full and half empty.
Or like
like
it's like is the
that.
do you view the glass as being half full or half empty?
Oh, is that like so an optimism pessimism thing, or
Yeah.
just actually are you at like what do you say the glass is?
I think it's just the
Here
way
is
you
a
say the
glass. Is it half full or half empty? Answer the
You're
question.
wrong. It's both. It's full of liquid and air.
Shit. Well,
Aw,
you know what?
science.
So am I.
I am
Nice.
also full of liquid and air.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
All right.
Yeah, you gotta practice for your trip, Saba.
God.
That's really
I'm
good.
gonna-
Yeah.
This is the first time I think it's gonna be just very awkward for me because people will clearly have a different accent. Like the only other place I went to was like Iran when I was like, what is it, like 10, 8? And like obviously I just spoke Persian, so it's like obviously
It's
it
fine.
didn't feel that different. Yeah, now I'm like,
What?
this is gonna feel weird. They're gonna be speaking in like accents, and I'm
Gaelic?
gonna be like, are they gonna get me, or am I gonna like, are they gonna treat me like
Am I gonna exist?
like an American? Like they're like, oh, Americans. I'm just gonna be like,
All
yeah.
I know is you don't ask for an Irish car bomb at a bar, you will get literally thrown out. Because they don't like it.
Duly.
Was that the
Duly
name? Was that
noted.
the name of a drink?
Yeah.
Don't ask for an Irish car bomb.
They will throw you out because that's like an insult.
That's pretty funny.
That is so funny. That's
wow,
so
Zach
good.
has been gone.
Why? It's a drink.
No, I know, but I just like the idea of it not used to, like, it didn't used to be a, like, negative connotation. It was just like, oh yeah, I'll have an Irish car bomb, and now it's like, oh, woof.
I mean, no, I mean like it's just because it's like a bunch of Irish drinks mixed together. So they're like, what? It's not fucking good enough for you. So it's a normal thing in like America if you want, but
It's like, no,
Not
I'm
in
planning on
Ireland.
driving after this.
in
that would
Ireland
be
it's
so bad.
disrespectful as fuck.
Ah, understood. So do it every day.
Guinness is a popular thing.
Hello.
Also,
Grant.
hello,
Zach.
Adrian.
Hello, Sab.
Hello, Adrian.
Oh, Adrian.
Hello.
How's it going?
Okay. I wanted to ask, what does purple banter mean?
So, well,
Is
if
that
you
the
if you
category
look,
of banter, or is the
if
stream
you-
itself purple?
the stream itself is very purple because of the game that we're playing and the overlay that
Okay.
I have set up. And then today's a banter stream since it's not like.
Okay. I
It
thought
looks like a
I thought that purple was describing the banter we were gonna have, and I was like, how do you make banter
All right, we're gonna
purple?
talk about
Purple
purple
banter.
a lot, like a lot,
gonna
a lot.
say-
Right.
Remember that weird purple cult from Earthbound? What was up with them, huh?
What's up with them, huh? Anyway, what's the deal with airline food? No.
Painting
Purple. Is it a color or a lifestyle?
What's the deal with purple? I mean, it's not airplanes and it's not food.
It's not red, it's not blue, it's purple.
Yeah. I still like Saba might have shanghaied the topic as I do all the time, but I still really want to talk about, are there more bottles with edible contents or inedible contents? Because I remember I still remember having this thought in the shower like weeks ago, and it's been bothering me ever since because like I don't know whether or not there is more, like, bottles on average have more inedible or edible contents. I don't know.
Describe inedible.
I mean,
Well,
what's your definition of a bottle?
If you look
Is
at
a
it,
sandwich a bottle? Is a
a
hot dog a
sandwich is
bottle?
not a bottle.
Why not?
Hello, it's Boats. Welcome. I'm glad you like purple. This game is extremely purple, just for you.
I will say, on stream, you have more of a violet purple interacting with this more indigo purple of the game, which I don't know, could be a good or bad thing depending on who you're talking to.
Variants.
Purple.
Can't
Who
have everything
are
be the
you
exact same
talking to and about? I don't understand. What the fuck are you talking? They're both purple.
Purple.
No, one clearly has more red in it and the other has more blue.
color? That still makes it purple. That's just slightly different shades of purple. It doesn't contradict the statement. That just...
But it's a different
Unless you
shade.
go super crazy and say, no, one's technically violet and the other's indigo. They're not the same thing.
Who are we
They're
talking
similar. They're
about?
close enough.
I don't know what's happening on my own stream. But yeah, so to define edible, it is something that is
Hold
fit.
on.
Something
we
that is
skipped
fit.
bottle.
Well, we're coming back to bottle because I said, Grant asked his question first, and then we'll come back to bottle. Excuse me. Edible is fit to be consumed, not can literally go into your stomach, right?
I was gonna say, did you watch that same video from Polygon?
Yes, where it's like anything is edible if you're not a coward, but
True.
But no.
So fit to be consumed.
Fit to be consumed, and then
You are
bottle.
supposed to have this.
You are supposed to have it, and then bottle I will define as something that a person, like if you walked up to somebody on the street, handed it to them, and be like, "Is this a bottle?" and they say yes, that's a bottle. So like a bottle of shampoo, a bottle of Coke, stuff like that. Whereas if it's like a tin of gasoline, sure, technically by some definition that might be a bottle, but people are gonna call that like a can of gas.
Okay,
You know what I
so
mean?
does a drawing of a bottle, if you go up to someone,
Container of
does that
gas.
contain an inedible thing, even if it's a drawing of a bottle of Coke?
Delicious gas.
Does it contain anything?
That's also valid. Does it contain literally anything?
I don't think it would.
Schrodinger's liquid.
I guess is nothing edible?
Schrodinger's liquid. Nothing is not edible, because if you eat nothing, you will die.
True.
But what if you only eat nothing for a few seconds?
Then you're you're not.
Seconds?
You can't eat nothing. That doesn't make any sense.
Technically, aren't we always not or eating nothing?
I would say
Air,
I
nothing?
would say
Different
most
from
of the time
eating.
we're doing
Are you
nothing.
sure we can't be eating air by just
That's
breathing?
breathing, Saba.
But if I open my
breathing.
mouth and I inhale,
That is
am I not
breathing,
eating?
Saba.
Why do you think the
Define
term
eating.
inhaling food count or exists?
All
Okay?
right, let's
Clearly-
define
Its boats tried to throw a monkey wrench into the system. A loose bucket of gas. Guess what? You just called it a bucket, motherfucker. That's not a bottle. You have bamboozled yourself.
Bucket.
But yeah.
I like to
So
Delicious
inhale air,
gasoline.
like I inhale my food.
so I'm thinking about
Kirby.
Saba's just Kirby. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking Pollo. And so I'm thinking about it where it's just like
That's good.
because obviously there's a lot of food products that come in bottles, not just like soda or most liquids, but there's also like sauces and stuff, right?
I was gonna say, wasn't that their thing of like Coke being unbelievably common to the point where like it's comparable to water or something?
Well, I don't know if it's exactly what you're referring to, but I do recall there being a thing where when asked like in third world countries, Coca-Cola was recognized just as much as like your average bottle of water. Like branded Coke, so that's kind of interesting, I guess.
Didn't that used to be a thing? I think we were like my sister like mentioned something. We were watching like a movie, and I think Russian, and I think they said like back in the day, water was harder to get, so that's why they're known for just like drinking alcohol and like vodka.
Well,
as a
because
substitute for water.
in Russia, vodka wasn't considered an alcohol until like 1960
considered a
something.
lifestyle.
Well, it was considered a beverage, like lemonade.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to think about. But yeah. Its boat says, I don't know what's going on, Lamau. We're just kind of having like your generic banter stream today, and then the game is called Creeper World. Just know that I am these guys, and I am going to slowly, over the course of the next hour, make my way into this tidal wave of orange nonsense, and then win. Maybe.
Orange.
I guess at what point
Purple,
can you
sorry.
transform a bottle physically?
Why did I say orange?
He's got sun kissed on his mind, or Fanta, or whatever.
I guess both of them are orange, yeah. Oops. Oops, I have been had.
Creeper mod, it just makes all the creeper orange.
Well, in the previous game, Creeper World Arc Eternal 3, you could change the color of the creeper, and I actually really enjoyed doing that because I would set all of my stuff to blue and all of my opponent's stuff to red, and it's like, now on the map I can clearly see who's like good and who's bad. Whereas when I look at purple, I just kind of see purple. It's the color of corruption,
pretty.
you know.
Or
Color of
mystery.
It's also
Because of
color
royal
royalty.
magic.
It's
Which is
also
corrupt in itself.
which
One
is
and the
corrupt
same.
in and of itself. I was just about to say that.
I like the use
Beat you
of
to the
purple.
punch. The bottle of punch.
The bottle of punch.
Anywho,
It's my
back on
fist in this
back
bottle.
onto this back onto the important topic at hand.
What if
Back
you
on
take what if you
the
take a bottle that
containers.
someone's crumpled up in their hands to like recycle? That has air, which is edible.
Are you
hands.
are you asking whether or not that counts in this question?
Yes.
I mean, it still counts if it has something in it, right?
But if you take a cube of those things that have been compacted in a fucking like garbage like central,
Does it still have something in it?
it has air.
Well, once again, I don't know if air is technically edible. Is
Well, then
air
therefore-
edible?
Therefore, there's probably more undrinkable,
Therefore.
inedible contents.
I mean, haven't you seen the can of fresh air?
I actually
have.
did see that, which is sad.
Wasn't that a horrifying video that was like uncanny and scary to think about?
Well, because it was
Wait,
a
no,
j-
that was from the fucking Lorax.
well, it was actually it was
Well-
I don't know if it was
recall
first,
that.
but it was actually a joke in Spaceballs first.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that
Oh
was.
god, they did that. I forgot that the Lorax was a big central thing, and then in Spaceballs it was kind of a throwaway gag.
It was, I
True.
think, the evil guy's like business or whatever. And
Yeah, he wanted all the oxygen because his planet was losing it.
because the idiot dude destroyed all the trees.
Welcome to chat, Lawrence.
Do you
Lawrence?
count digital bottles? Like if you take your phone and show someone a picture bottle and they ask what it is and they say a bottle, does that count?
Can you eat? Well, you would have to be able to eat what's inside the phone, which I don't think counts.
So therefore, inedible.
So in
So
that
th-
case,
so
any
therefore I would
phone
say
could,
it's inedible.
could theoretically count as that.
Any what?
Any electronic that could display imagery could count as a bottle potentially if you make it display a bottle. In fact, many phones could display many bottles depending on how many fit in the screen with the resolution.
That is true. That is literally true.
If I really wanted to, I could make a Photoshop PNG of like hundreds of bottles clumped up together on my screen. Are those all individual bottles?
No.
If you show them to someone,
Send that in
they'll say,
Discord and
they'll say
ask
it's a bottle.
everyone.
I'll say, hey, what's pictured in this? What's this? And they'll say, oh, it's a bunch of bottles. It's bottles.
It's a bunch
You
of
know,
stuff.
well, right, but keep in mind there was a second half to the definition, which was that you then have to be able to eat what's inside. Like, it has to be edible.
And you can't.
But if I come up with a bottle that's filled with solid lead, I can't eat that.
Right. So that's not a bottle full of edible stuff.
Right. So then in that case, my screen is just full of bottles that aren't edible stuff. So all those individuals could count theoretically. They would count to the side of bottles full of inedible stuff.
I guess they would. Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't like thinking about this. It hurts my head.
Have you seen demonstrated topology?
No, I saw that you put it in Banter, though.
Okay, I'm sad that Lawrence isn't here because I was going to talk a little bit about Topo, which is a 3D modeling term. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it.
It's the one where you
I'll
make,
learn.
like, the polygons or whatever, right?
Kind of.
Yeah,
Topology.
sorry.
You make the polygons on a model like nice and flexible and good for animation, more
Yeah.
or less. But it's related to topology, which is
Rest in peace.
in the one for digital art is topography. I'm pretty sure. I think. I
I thought that
don't
was
think.
maps.
Well, I
that's-
mean,
that-
also.
Also, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I don't think they use topology in the thing, is what I'm saying. They use topography, which is a slightly different term, but still topo from like the surface of whatever on top. But I wanted to mention I saw this one. YouTube short because I browse those because I'm a sad person.
True.
That was like
Let's go.
it was this couple that had like they had like little cloth like very loose, easy to get out of string like tied around their hands and connected like little handcuffs. And they had it so that the string was passing through, so like if they pulled away, it would like tug on both sides. So each of them had their own little handcuffs and figure out how to get out of it. And I was like, intuitively, that seems like it wouldn't work or it'd be very hard. But then I remembered, no, that's actually incredibly possible if you just happen to be a topology expert, because they solve shit like that all the time. That's applied topology. So I wanted to link a topology demonstration that I saw that blew my mind, and I was like, oh my god, I wish I was this smart. There's one where it's a guy who has the exact same problem, but he's alone. It's just him with a pole in a similar situation. And I was like, man, this seems like it'd be incredibly useful for escaping scenarios if it ever came to like emergency cases. I'm not gonna remember this though. I'm just not. It's too.
I've seen this shit.
Yeah, it's wizardry.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Based on the screenshot, I believe that I'm familiar-ish with this type of thing. And the one that I always think of is the one where the power cord is like tangled up on top of some thing, I don't know, and it's like impossible to get out. And the guy like bends the cable once, pulls it through, and then undoes the whole thing like it's a shoelace. And I'm like, that's impossible.
I was gonna say,
you wizard.
These people are just wizards, and I'm like, this is a study of math and science that I cannot comprehend, but I would love to just have. Like, I don't want to put in the effort of learning it, but if I had a god, I'd be like, I'd feel so cool. I don't know if it'd actually be helpful in untying like like earbuds, because it just takes a long time no matter what, I'm pretty sure. But if I found one of those knots, which is probably very unlikely, I'd be like, hey, I can solve that.
I can solve
I can solve that.
You think
Just
being
wanted
able
to-
to recognize like geometric patterns in like nature would be cool? I don't know how I would feel, like fractals and stuff like
I was
that.
gonna say.
I'm pretty sure that if I was able to recognize patterns in nature, I would achieve the perfect spiral and save the world from the American president. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I'm trying to grab the pieces of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
what's the fucking thing called? Divine
Or save
geometry or
that
something
down
like that?
from Judito's
Sacred
spiral
geometry?
death.
Sacred geometry. Yeah.
Sacred geometry.
Oh, this was a bad idea. What have I done?
Yeah, you're a fool.
I had one of my players in my D&D games said that she used to be extremely into like zodiacs and like sacred geometry and like that sort of like divination kind of thing, and we had a very long talk about it, and I realized, this person has the potential to just spiral off into really deep shit that I don't know if I feel like getting into. But at the very least, it demonstrated the level of like willingness to engage in conversation that I appreciated.
That's cool.
I think zodiac stuff is like interesting, but obviously the people that like die by it, I'm like, okay, chill, dude.
Yeah, I mean, as a staunch hater of determinism, I
Things.
despise
I don't know,
it.
that sounds something like a Pisces would say.
That's
Of
like
course.
a place you would
Luckily, I'm not a Pisces.
I was
'Cause
gonna
it's, like,
say, yeah.
there are like some things that it's kind of like the same thing with like tarot cards and stuff. Like if it's just like a nice message, right? That's just like positive, whatever, right? It's just positive ideas and stuff. It's like that stuff is fine, you know. If it just makes you feel good, it's okay. But it's like you need to be wary of like the second Sunday of like March because like something catastrophic.
Because a bunch of people are gonna come up and stab you with their togas.
Yeah. So like that stuff, I'm like, okay, you're getting a bit extreme here. But I like it. If it makes you feel good, you drew like it's gonna be a great day card. I'm like, yeah, why not? It'll just be like
A great day
placebo.
card? Like it's Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, I just said tarot. Zach.
No, I know, but I
defense
really
would
like.
end my turn.
I like the idea of it being like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Tarot's like the Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent to
I
tarot.
put the
It's
two
like
of swords
if it's a
in
bad
defense mode
day.
and summon the three of swords from my hand, and I end my
my
turn.
God. Basically that, and if you're gonna have a bad day, the trap, it's gonna be like a trap
Now
card
there's
saying, like, you
Undertale
activated
in
my
it?
trap card. What?
Undertale.
Well, you said you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
No, I know.
You
There's
will.
there's like the quote unquote warning cards in like tarot, like you should like be wary of something.
Well, it's
so, like, maybe it'll
isn't
be
it
like
if
a,
you
activated
draw it
my
upside
trap card.
down, right?
No, like I know the card, the tower is supposed to like mean like an obstacle, I believe.
Or like something's about to collapse or something.
Yeah.
It's all
Or like
nonsense,
you get
obviously.
or like you get a
but...
sick wizard tower.
Yeah, dude, I want that one.
wizard.
Anywho, is in my philosophy, like you just even if you draw something like that, it's like okay, it's like whatever. It doesn't have like super impact
things are
in my
tough.
mind.
Oh my god.
But I think it's fun, you know. Like I said, placebo. It's like, you know, if a card tells you you're gonna have a nice day, and you're like, nice, I'm gonna have a nice day.
And it's like,
And you
oh,
forget
my
about
day
it.
is like really good, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you end up just like fixing your own problem. That's nice.
And then you're like, the cards are right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
My
but that's
God.
okay as long as you keep it going.
It just reminded all this tarot talk reminded me of that one joke that Monster
That's a good
Prom stole
podcast.
from Twitter.
What?
Mysterious old lady flips tarot card, revealing a dude who looks exactly like me flying a hot air balloon into the power lines. I reply, is that good?
Is that good?
Yeah, so I think tarot stuff is fun, right? Because it has to like the mystical or like ooh, mystery, magical stuff.
I have
I'm like,
another
sure.
friend who knows how to read tarot who says that he doesn't. He literally just does it when he's stumped in life and wants a suggestion where to go, and doesn't really read it as like a divination or prophecy, just like a suggestion, like literally like rolling a dice and
Possibly.
and assigning like different things, but they're kind of already assigned.
Yeah, I think stuff like that is fine, right? Just as long as it doesn't rule your world. Like if you see something that could be potentially bad and like you go over the top to try to like solve it because you're like, oh, it's going to happen. Like, you know, that's gonna kind of like spiral, because then you might start reading too much into certain things and you might start going, I don't know, too far.
But what is too far? How do we know? No!
Apparently that.
No! You son of a
I-
bitch! Why would you do this to me? That
Once we
sniper
finally get into
just
that
wanted to
spot-
live.
Zach, once you get into your like heist game, I'm gonna be the tarot master and be like, little did you know in my,
My heist
divination. You remember the
The
what is
tabletop
tabletop?
heist
D&D.
one?
Yeah.
Oh
I'll be
god,
like,
I
little
haven't
did
worked on
you
that in
know.
months.
Coward.
I read in the tarot cards that this was going to happen.
That's how you explain that your character is able to like predict things. Why is
There's
this
a
floating
really
away?
good feat that you can take, and like it's a skill that you can get, like a special move that you can unlock at really high levels that's based on like your deception skill in Pathfinder. Where, like, it's called Reveal Machinations. You have to make a deception that's really hard, but if you succeed, you reveal to someone that you've been influencing and just subtly in the background of their entire life the entire time, and it makes them terrified.
Oh my god, that does sound terrifying.
That's really good. I
Yeah, like-
am your father. The
Like,
the
remember
goblin
back
goes,
when you were
no!
a child. Remember back when you were a child? I planted those flowers nearby in that bush to make you think this thing and gas that girl out. I planned it all along.
I've
Oh my
gaslit you your entire life.
It's literally that. You try to scare them into thinking that you've been there the entire time.
I can't lie to you that I love that. That's so good. I would design an
That's gonna say-
entire game just around that concept of like
It's,
revealing machinations. That's so good.
It's a very, very late game thing that you take, because obviously it'd be insane if you
It'd
could
be
do that level one.
incredibly powerful. You basically become
Yes.
God for a moment because you just
Yes.
get to do whatever the fuck. Oh, that's so
I'm
good.
God.
All right, I think I have. I
Oh,
think
speaking of becoming God, I beat Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh my
Congratulations!
god, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
You're one of
Yeah.
6 human beings in the entire known universe to do that.
Finally.
Finally,
Somewhere I belong.
the recognition I deserve.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. Though there is the boss fight, the final boss fight is kind of bullshit depending on certain choices you make. At least I thought so. But otherwidse, I enjoyed
You
it. It
didn't
was
just
fun.
cheese the game like everyone seems to really want to do. with the
I did at the end
explosive
for the final
barrels?
boss fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a thing that everyone does because that's how you play the game, I guess.
Oh gosh.
Well, that's what the game was designed for.
Dude, this game lets you just put a bunch of explosive barrels in a fruit basket and throw it at someone and then explode them, and that's good.
Yeah.
Big is that fruit basket? Wow. What fruits are
Big.
they trying to harvest?
That's how my favorite anime ended.
Blowing up.
Just fruits basket just explodes and it's done.
My mango.
My
Those
mango.
are some giant coconuts.
The fuck are you talking about?
Those are some giant coconuts. Sounds like a fucking cartoon character catchphrase.
Those are some giant
Like a
coconuts.
Ren and Stimpy character.
Yeah.
Speaking on the tarot thing for a moment, because you know, like when you're designing stuff, pulling reference from like the real world is oftentimes a thing, as everybody knows. And you know, tarot is just really fun because you get all the different arcana, and each arcana means something. So it's like, oh, this is like an easy way of doing like some simple world building or whatever. But there are other versions, or there's other not versions, but there's other like stuff in that similar vein that I'm upset have like negative real world connotations, so you can't really use them, because outside of the context of racism, phrenology is actually really interesting. Just like the amount of like pseudo mystic science that they applied to, like, you know, how the shape of your skull and your jaw and your teeth like affects your connection to like the universe and stuff like that. That sounds like some cool ass sci-fi shit. It's a shame that it was a way it's a shame that it was created and used to like validate slavery. So it's like, oh, you can't do that. And then like the other one, which is a lot more popular, is the four humors.
Yes, I love those. I try to push really hard for that to be the new personality thing in high school instead of fucking MBTI or Zodiacs.
Right. But the problem with the humors, once again, is that a lot of the like basic concepts in humorism are deeply rooted in racism. So it's like, for example, humorism is all about the idea that you need to balance all four humors, but if you're not white, you always have an excess of one of the humors, which is
Oh my
I mean,
god.
I was
hey
basing
Grant,
off
you want to
Greek
take a
humorism.
Grant, you want to take a wild guess what Asians have an excess of according to humorism?
What's that, Zach?
Yellow. Who would have
Yeah,
guessed? And
I
it's
was
like,
basing off Greek humorism.
sorry,
Basing off the Greek humorism.
Greek humorism, not European,
Yeah.
not classical European.
Yeah.
Classical music.
Classical.
This is super
music.
interesting. I think we should also include that the game type test or whatever we took as well. You know,
True.
That will, you know, reveal all of our personalities. I think
Your
that
gamer.
Your gamer type.
That's the true one. That one tells you which slur you're gonna say first.
Which one you're gonna say first? Not if
Which
you're
one is
going
it,
to,
guys?
just which one is first.
I mean, if you're a gamer, it's a foregone conclusion.
True,
Exactly.
true. Oh, that's really good.
I
Man,
wanted
this
to
level's
point out-
really hard. Because this
wanna
thing just
point
keeps
out
pulsing way
that,
too quickly.
There's 4 characters that all share a naming convention. I just saw this post on Tumblr, and it's very interesting to me. There's Duncan Idaho from Dune, Johnny Utah from Point Break, Hannah Montana from Disney, and George Washington from American History.
I see. So it's
Of a
like
person with name and then state.
very fun.
Yeah.
That's not fair. One of those was created in reverse order, where the state was named after him.
So get
Yeah.
a name.
What
get a state
if
name
they-
for
Well,
yourself.
I mean, Miley Cyrus kind of, you know.
But what if someone
no
had,
state
like,
called
the last
Cyrus.
name?
Miley Cyrus kind of made.
Oh, you haven't unlocked USA Plus?
Created it.
USA Plus.
Or like
it's
some
like
of their
it's like
last
underneath
names,
Canada.
Some of their last names are like the state, but it's like pronounced some might say the correct way, so it's Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Kansas.
Cyrus is the 51st state. Very good one, Lawrence. The well, you remember one of the ghost lords, or not ghost lords, one of the large ghosts from Seance Party is called Duke Montana.
Related to Hannah Montana.
Vaguely.
Directly.
Only vaguely. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like any other state names that would be like, or that I've heard people have last names of, but I can't think of any.
You never heard of Noel Washington?
No, I meant like others of that aren't Washington, Montana, whatever. I mean, I guess Red versus Blue literally does.
Yeah, those are
states.
just yeah, but that's like
Yeah.
Are we just making Hitalia again?
kinda.
Shit.
God damn it, they already did it.
No, not again.
We barely made it out the last time.
I'm looking at the map with all the state names right now.
Did you need a map?
There's General Kentucky.
As opposed to Major Kentucky or Lieutenant Kentucky.
I was gonna say, Zach, didn't we talk about this? How I like failed my 50 states quiz repeatedly and had to retake it multiple times.
We might have. I probably forgot though.
The only reason I passed was because my teacher literally let me cheat by sneaking a little cardboard book made for like kindergartners while I was fully in 4th grade that had the 50 states and capitals.
I never had to take one of those.
Yeah, that's awful. Memorizing 100 things and having to put them on a map, it's awful.
100? Oh, was it
50
states
states
and
and
capitals?
capitals, yeah.
Oh, I didn't have
okay.
to learn the capitals. I had to learn
I had to.
the 50 states because in Massachusetts there's like a big educational grant
Yes.
that if you don't
There's also a big educational Zach, a big educational Saba, a big educational
there's a big
Everything's bigger
education
in Massachusetts.
there's a big educational grant that if you that the school only gets if they it's like the Patriot Grant or something like that. Like it's what the hell? There's a lot of explosions
Grant, you're so
happening. I don't know what's
patriot.
happening.
I never knew.
Grant loves America.
That's what they call me.
Patriot Grant.
famous for
Yeah,
loving
Patriot
America and every
Grant.
decision that they make,
And
especially government.
especially ones that might have occurred between the years of 1960 whatever to 1960 whatever.
Oh no.
Grant loves every single
Especially
one
the
of
ones
those decisions.
that they made between 2016 and 2020.
I'm being bullied on stream.
Oh no, Grant, what is that
so
like?
you were named this, huh? Bet you wish you weren't named Grant anymore.
I bet you wish your name wasn't also just a word. Lol. Are there other? How many other names are like that? Because there's like Mark, right? So like that one's easy.
Stuff's super funny to
Bob.
think about.
Technically,
Bob?
Yeah.
Bob, like Bob and Weave,
Oh yeah, sure.
Bobbing
that makes
up and
sense.
down?
for apples.
Bobbing up and down, bobbing for apples. These all make sense. These are all words that do in fact exist. I think.
Talking about verbs, I think we should go specifically verbs because there's so
Talking
many
about
nouns.
verbs.
There's months like June,
Those are also
Not a
just things.
verb.
That is true.
autumn.
Wait, June's not a. You said let's talk about verbs.
No,
June?
no, I know, but I'm
Autumn?
saying
Yeah,
June,
June.
months.
The verb.
Yeah, you ever? Have you,
June.
by the way, Grant, did you June breakfast today?
I you know what? I didn't June at breakfast this morning. I'm sorry to say.
I June off every day. Oh shit! I put off in there when I wasn't supposed to. Shit.
Oh no.
I fucking
Is another
I
applicable
spoiled my
name
own
that
joke.
applies?
I'm such an idiot.
Jack is another name. Now that you mention it, that reminded me.
True.
Lauren says Zach, obviously, but that's
Yeah.
beyond the point, I guess.
No.
What do you mean? No.
It's not.
It's so good. I should probably use these guys that actually have like the superpowers to clear out some of this shit.
No. Don't do it.
Don't stop
It's a
telling me no.
No.
Oh,
No.
It's Caesar from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. where he just
Bro,
goes.
how did they get the
he just
Statue
goes,
of Liberty all the way onto the Planet of the Apes?
Honestly,
oh,
they had to
excuse you.
ship
There's a
it
continuity
super
error
far.
in this movie. How could they possibly have gotten?
Amazon Prime, idiots. Okay.
Amazon Primate.
Amazon Primate. Amazon Primate is really good.
No, Primate, the Pokemon.
Oh,
Primate. It's run by him.
Yes.
oh, that's really
Jeff
good.
Bezos, the Pokemon trainer.
Oh God.
He would
By the way, did you hear the bad news?
that he survived.
It didn't blow
Yeah,
up.
that the rocket ship didn't blow up.
Now, Grant said something similar when I was hanging out with him earlier this week, and I had to remind him that Jeff Bezos planned for people saying that by having the youngest astronaut and the oldest astronaut also on the plane with him. So if you said that, you were a bad person. And after I finished the call with Grant, I was like, I don't give a shit about those people. Fuck him. I'm sick and tired of his
God.
shit.
I mean, I will say, as callous as it is, 2 lives for a billion.
I love it.
Because Jeff Bezos doesn't count as one.
I love-
Suddenly, we're taking that like moral train question.
Am I
Oh,
wrong?
the trolley problem.
The trolley.
The moral
Charles
train.
Bob.
The moral train.
I love moral
Rocket
train.
ship.
That's how I got to work every day. Or that's how I got
Moral
that's how I
train.
got to Cogswell was the moral train. Yeah.
It's the moral train. Instead of paying money, you have to listen to a mystical Greek fox tell you fables.
Oh God.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I don't mean to make fun of you. It's just really funny.
Listen, we make gaffes at other people's typos and speakos all the time.
I have never misspoken. Fuck. That was it.
Get
Oh.
fucked.
Damn it.
Anyway.
Are you planting grass, by the way?
Excuse
What
you?
I'm seeing. What is the green?
The green just represents like
That's
the area
the
that
weed
energy is
farm.
being drawn from.
Ah.
Weed.
Yeah. I am not planting grass. No, that'd be
There are
really
other
funny
things
though.
that are green, Grant, besides just weed.
Okay, Saba, name one.
Name one thing that's not weed that is also green.
Yeah.
Every other
I'll
type
wait.
of foliage.
Every other animal.
Checkmate, atheists.
You
guys
can't
use
do
the
it,
term
Saba. There's
foliage?
literally nothing else other than. Oh, that's gonna be really bad. Oh, that's gonna be really
Weed.
bad. Other than weed. Oh shit! Please, 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 please
Trees,
shoot.
it's just a weed with wood.
Oh!
True.
Oh no! This is really
It's
bad.
just
I
weed
made a
with a little
terrible
extra.
mistake. Oh no!
It's just weed plus.
Oh.
honestly.
I have
because it just
made a
takes longer.
horrible mistake. This is exceptionally bad. Oh god, what have I done? Why did I do
I can't
this?
believe Zach is
Why
bad
have
at
I
the
played
video
this game?
Oh no, everything's gonna be dead. Oh, I have to rebuild this entire side of the thing. And this is destroyed now? Damn it! Oh, I'm so embarrassed. All right.
Grant, do you remember that one video I posted that I said had your lookalike in it?
Yeah.
I've been listening to that song a lot because I just like the song, but like every now and then I'll check on the video and it gets to the part that it's like, hey, look, it's Grant.
It's me.
It's him. He does a little spin and does
Yo,
finger guns, and then just like
yeah.
chills out in the background with a yellow
I'm,
jacket.
I'm dancing. Yeah, little did you
Dance.
guys know of my.
You should get a yellow
side career.
jacket. You should for Halloween. That's what you should. You should be background dancers.
the
looks like
bug.
you.
Dress up as that. Just finger gun at everyone. Just
Yeah, like twirl someone in a ballet spin and then finger guns and then just like chill out in the background.
And when somebody's like, "What the
While
hell is?"
dancing.
Somebody's like, "What the hell is this reference?" You're like, "You wouldn't you like to know?"
Would
Yeah,
you like to
would-
know Denim Jacket Boy?
denim jacket boy.
Name of
There's no music playing. I just do that while it's the
yeah, we
sound
don't want
of
to
my
get copyrighted over
shoes.
here.
Yeah,
I don't want my Halloween
just the sound of my
costume
shoes on the concrete.
Yeah. I did I tell you guys that I started playing Ultra Sun?
I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, I beat
Yeah, you
Ultra Sun on my
Nice.
computer. It was pretty good. That said, I can absolutely see where the difficulty comes from if you were to nuzlocke it. Cause my god, if I if I was actually like playing a Nuzlocke, that game would be torturous.
Did you do Rainbow Rocket? The
I did
whole
not.
shebang?
I didn't do the post game. I only did the base game.
Post game's fun. It's
I
just
will
neat.
say Rainbow Rocket seems cool.
I saw Giovanni's Pokemon were like level 60 something. I'm like, I don't feel like it.
I mean, if you have a strong enough team, you can go in like fairly low.
Yes. By the way, how familiar are you guys with like Pokemon EVs and IVs and that system?
Fairly
Not at all.
familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, neither.
I'll explain it very briefly. Some
Graham was
Pokemon
a
are just
gym
born
leader.
better than others. The Pokemon have what's called IVs in every stat, and it ranges from 0 to 31. And if your Pokemon is a higher IV, they just are better at that than others, and you can have Pokemon with max IVs in every stat, which just makes them good. So, long story short, some Pokemon are just better than others. And apparently, there are Pokemon sets in Ultra Sun Moon that have full perfect IVs or max IVs in certain places, and also perfect EVs, which are similarly, if you fight certain Pokemon, then they'll get certain status when they level. So Ultra Sun has that, but then I found out that that's the reason why, like, I don't know if you're aware of, in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, there's a big meme, or at least Platinum specifically, there's a big meme of Cynthia's Garchomp being like scary as hell and like the scariest Pokemon a trainer has in the series.
I was like, it's really
Because-
strong.
It's because Cynthia's Garchomp has perfect IVs,
Oh,
as in plus 31 in every single stat.
no wonder
Get
it's so
fucked,
scary.
me.
I was gonna say,
Get fucked,
Like, that's-
child.
that's
Wait.
insane.
Never mind. Everybody forget that. Moving on.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, that's scary
How
as
did
shit.
you like Ultra Sun compared to regular Sun?
How did you like
It was
my
good.
son?
I felt bad at the end because I had an aesthetic. I was kind of going for like a brown orange like yellow kind of vibe for my character's outfit, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm playing Ultra Sun. That's what the shops have. But then at the end, I got the Team Skull hat and tank top, and I got really sad
you're like,
because I got really sad. Yeah, because the Ultra Moon has the dark clothing colors, Ultra Sun has the bright clothing colors. And I was like, shit! I made the wrong choice! Damn it!
Fuck! No!
I also got really sad and disappointed in my Tyrantrum because I realized Rock Dragon is a fucking awful type. It's so bad.
Is all it takes.
Like it's weak to its fossil counterpart, but I love Tyrantrum so much.
It's such a bad type, dude.
But
It's
he's
so
cool.
And
I
with my friendship. Oh.
I felt kind of bad because I took up Mudstill because I love that dang old horse, and then my Mudstill was the only member of my team that actually had a good nature and also stomped everything in its way really easily, and I was like, man, but I want my other Pokemon to have it. Like I caught Baneri at the start. I was like, okay, this is cool. It had Klutz, which is bad, and I'm like, okay, that sucks. And then it had also an unideal nature, and I was like, okay, that's also bad. And then eventually I had to swap it out for Mimikyu, and I was like, okay, I'll catch a Mimikyu. They're kind of rare, and I spent some time, waited, caught one. All right, let's see. Bad nature. Oh. Oh, whatever, you're still on the team. I felt bad because I was like, if I was like 20% less knowledgeable about Pokemon, I would be fine and I would just enjoy the game fine. But then I was nagged back. I was like, man, my Pokemon have fucking awful natures, and like my Pokemon's type team is so fucking unbalanced. And I was like, I was cursed with knowledge when I watched all those Nuzlocke videos.
You were cursed with
Cursed
I couldn't
with
enjoy
knowledge.
I couldn't fully enjoy my game because I was like, man, my team's not perfect.
It
Oh,
must
that's
be
why I have no more
perfect.
red light.
I think what they did for Alpha Sapphire, because they added that little system where, for like your little device that it'll show you when a Pokemon appears and it'll show you its stats. And the more you like fight it consecutively, then it reveals more stats, and then like a little exclamation mark will appear if it's like, oh, this is a rare stat. That is the worst thing possible to do to me because I'm the type of person that will stop at nothing. and I'll be like, I need the best stat. I need all of them exclamation marks, and I need to make sure all of it. It's just a bad time.
The other bad part was that like I was aware on one half that like my Pokemon had bad stats and that my team was becoming really easy. Like we had like all of my team was weak to fucking like ground types and steel types, and a lot more fighting types, and we were all like really lopsided and not type balanced. But then the other part of my brain, which was also almost as loud, was like, or even a little bit louder, was like, but you caught them. They're your Pokemon. You're a trainer.
They're
You love
yours,
them, don't you?
They
I was
love
gonna
you.
say, they're your Pokemon, aren't they? You love them, don't you? You're not a bad trainer. You don't just care. And I was like,
You want to release them?
I already
really
had to do that with my
funny.
fucking. I had to do that with my fucking Lopunny to make room in the party, and I was like, I got you the max friendship for this. I'm sorry, I failed you. Because after you evolve Lopunny into or Banir into Lopunny, you have to get to max friendship from 0. And I was like, I spent all this time, and I swore I was gonna be a good trainer, but I like
Forgive me
you.
for what I must Scooby Dooby Doo.
Exactly. So I realized that I don't think I can play Pokemon casual, and it's not because I'm like, no, the game's bad. I'm like, it's because like no, because I can't do it. I'm not strong
You're
enough.
too
I
much.
am not strong enough.
I'm not strong enough to play the Pokemon games anymore. I don't think I could do it.
I think that's pretty fair.
Damn.
I don't actually care or think they're good or bad. I just don't think I'm strong enough personally to handle it.
Emotionally.
Exactly.
That's that. You know what? Respect, Adrian. Some people-
How I feel with Monster Hunter.
When's the last time I updated you guys on my art fight status?
It's been a minute.
Okay, art fight's almost over. It's end of the
my
month. Yeah, so there's a weekish left. I got a bunch of revenges back, so I went from being like, my ratio being like 75% attack to 20% defense. It's now near 60, like 57 specifically. So I launched, let's see, 8 attacks, and I got 6 drawings back, so I have 6 defenses, which is a pretty good ratio.
That's cool.
Exciting.
Yeah, I wonder how Lawrence is doing. If Lawrence participated at all this year.
Lawrence did participate. We hung out the other day, and he told me, and he talked about participating on a few occasions. I don't remember any of the details, unfortunately, because it was all very specific. But he did participate.
Oh, I wonder if he's gotten any nice drawings back. But yeah, I will say that I'm in a place where I'm like, I definitely like sprint at the start, and I'm gasping now for drawing, where I'm like, I don't want to draw, but I kind of, because you can look at like veterans pages where you see all their accomplishments, and there's like achievements for drawing different things. I kind of want to get that. I've only done 8 drawings. I kind of want to get that 10 drawing achievement badge on my profile, even though it means literally nothing. But
It means you got 10 drawings, though.
Yeah.
it would mean that well, not the one that you get, the one where you do 10 drawings.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I kind of want to do that, but also I don't
not want to do it.
Drawing. It's weird for. I guess, I don't know if Zach, you experienced anything with writing, but it's weird having a passion where, like, you love it, but there's times where you don't love it, but then when you don't love it, you hate that you don't love it. I don't know.
I mean, you just described my thought process on a daily basis, like, in general. So I don't know if I necessarily have anything specific to like an art, but
like an analog, but yeah. I don't know if Grant or Sava have that experience either.
Living.
trying. That's just the end of the statement. Trying, crying. I don't know where to go for this thing. Let's do. And by the way, I told you, see, isn't this game's neat because it's very slowly over the course of an hour pulling my way across this map. Isn't that fun?
pretty neat.
It's definitely a long-term strategy game.
I like this game.
Right up your alley.
Alright,
This
where's the turn?
game sure does look complex.
This game sure is
Uh,
purple.
The game sure is purple. You kind of just forget about certain parts of the game. Like, really, I'm only ever focusing on like an area this big at one time, which is why like sometimes I'll look over here and it's like, oh, everything got destroyed at some point. My bad, and then I fix it. But that's also just because I'm impatient.
You have
Friendship meter! The friendship meter, Zach! Zach!
no!
Look at all of this. Look at all this free energy. It's free real
Look at all
estate,
that
my
weed.
guy.
All that weed.
Oh, Lawrence says in chat, throughout several attacks, no defenses, Sag. Sag indeed, Lawrence. How many characters do you have listed on your profile?
17.
I have 8, I think. Let me check. I have 7 characters listed. And a good... There's definitely favoritism on who people have wanted to draw of my characters.
Uh-huh. Is there is there a common theme, maybe?
Only 3 of them have gotten art out of the 7 that I put up. Actually, no, sorry, 4 of them, so I guess it's a little bit less favoritism, just more people haven't drawn as much for me. It's fine, though. I've done 1 friendly fire as well.
I should destroy this, move you here,
That's a
And
lot
hope-
of creep.
and hope that everything doesn't just kill me. These things
Hey.
are rough, dude.
Hey Grant, can I ask you to regale me with details about your tenure as a gym leader?
Sure.
Can I ask what in the gym leader did you organize it as if it were at, also like some were like lower level and only had 2 Pokemon, where some had like full parties of like higher level Pokemon?
So the
No,
way the
Grant was brutal.
The
No
way the
badges
league
yet,
was
8 level
structured
90 Pokemon. Sorry.
was that you could essentially do any rules you wanted, and my rules were fairly standard of like, you know, whatever Pokemon you want, no legendaries, no Ultra Beast, blah blah blah. And that was mostly it. And I was the fighting type gym leader, but a lot of people had other rules of like, I don't know, no Mega Evolution. I was fine with it, but so on and so forth. But the way they structured how difficult the gym was is you would take a test against one of the Elite Four, basically, which was Dave.
Oh.
I took my test against Dave, and it would put you in a tier of Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, all being different, basically easy, normal, and hard. And so you could expect what to do when you know, challenging a gym. And while Dave, he was Ice type, and he was, as they called, Premier Ball, because I don't know, because he's almost in Great Ball. I was also Pokeball tier, where it was just like easy gym of just fighting types. I didn't really train too much, more or less just for what type of Pokemon I wanted, because we had to have both. Well, we didn't have to, but it was recommended to have like both the Sword and Shield and also either Ultra Sun or regular Sun or Moon. So, because not every challenger would have a Switch, or not every challenger would have a 3DS.
Right.
And I still have my gym badges somewhere. I think they're on my desk.
Wait, physical gym? Oh my god, that's cool. As
Yeah,
hell.
we actually, you got to
You, like-
design your own gym badge.
I was gonna say, did you like print them out?
Yeah, they put the design and then they shipped it off to a company, and the company would make actual pins. So when someone, oh yeah,
Like
here they
metal
are.
pins?
Yeah, let me
Oh
show
my
you.
god, that's cool as hell.
We got
Holy
the
shit.
This
design.
existed at the school that you went to.
Yeah,
Listen, I was and still am incredibly antisocial and timid around physical people.
Physical people.
I'll send you a Snapchat.
We
in the
are
meat
only
space.
figurative people, guys.
I'm a
People in the meat
metaphor.
space,
I
as
consider
they say.
myself to be quite metaphorical, to be honest.
What? Does anyone know what meat space is from?
What?
Meat space as like
I don't understand the
opposed-
question.
The
Sir,
term
I
meat
don't
space
understand.
being
I know what
referring to
meat
the real
space
world.
means, but like,
Right,
what do
but
you
does
mean
anyone
where
know
it's
what
from?
the term's from? Like who
I
coined it, or
know.
what? If it's from media or something?
I do not know.
Well, anyways, but yeah, man, I wish I was in the. Actually, no, I couldn't have
From
participated
meat
because I gave away my 3DS before I went to college to my little brother, who probably lost at this point,
Ooh.
and also probably never played it because he likes
I sent
Roblox
you
and
a
Minecraft.
Snapchat video of one of my
Better be
badges.
good. If you have a shitty badge, I'm gonna roast you for it.
I mean, I will say I had a really great idea right after I submitted my design.
True.
Nice.
I still really do like that design. What the hell happened?
All right, is this gonna be like a cool Gen 1 to Gen 3 badge, or is it gonna be a shitty Galar badge where it's like a weird lump? Let's see.
I don't know. I hope it's cool. But I was just like, I just went to the lab one day and was like, I gotta do this. I have a due date. But they
It looks
print
okay.
your name. Yeah, they print your name on the side, which I showed in the video, and also the name of your badge.
It's definitely an okay badge design.
It was fairly similar to the previous fighting type, but instead of they used very different colors and a background, and they had the Pokemon card fighting hand, you know,
Right.
that symbol.
I guess I was just imagining it to have like a custom shape too, like a Gen 1 badge.
No, it was just circular.
That's fair.
And I called it the hands badge because they gonna catch these hands.
Right.
And then I was immediately saddened by I could have called either the vibe badge, and it's just a hand breaking through and reaching out.
Oh
The
no.
vibe check
I really
badge
wanted
was such a
vibe
good
check
idea.
badge. But I did it right. We thought of that right after I already submitted it, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
In my head, when I saw the posters at the school, my assumption in my head was like, oh man, these people really know everything about Pokemon. They're gonna have like full IVs and EVs, whatever those are, and like they're gonna be level 100.
No. There
I
are
definitely
people
was-
like that.
I definitely assumed that everyone at Cogswell was like uber competent at everything.
I don't think you. I mean, I get it being in college that you must have some levels of competency, but I don't know. I don't.
That
No, it was-
definitely was my assumption that everyone was uber competent compared to me, which drove a lot of my anxiety.
No, I mean, the Pokemon Club was a very nice mix of people who just enjoyed Pokemon for fun versus people who were very competitive about it.
Right.
Do you know Garrett?
In Pokemon.
The name sounds familiar, but I couldn't put a face to it.
Okay, he's the, well, I guess he still is. He hasn't graduated yet, so he's the president and also the champion. He is a god. Like, he is crazy good.
As I would expect.
Yeah, and his chosen type, he's also a gym leader aside from being champion, is his chosen type is grass.
Oh, so he's a Gary. I see.
Yeah, he's
Gary.
a Gary.
Gary. Okay.
But yeah, no, Pokemon Club was super fun and chill, except for one dude who we didn't like, but other than that, that was good.
It was Adrian. We saw him eyeing us up from afar, even though he wasn't in it, we hated him.
He would peek around the corner.
He would
Ask
walk
weird
by and give
questions.
us longing stares while we were in our club room.
I don't remember. Did the Pokemon Club have a room?
Before the move?
Yeah, before the before the redesign, did they? Because I know there was a game
I
room.
don't know. There was the game room, but I don't know if they had a specific room because I wasn't a part of them then.
Ah, right. Yeah.
I was part of them after the move, and at that point, it was just fucking whatever classroom we can have, or we just met in the den. I know Dave did a whole. We had a fun meeting that we used one of the physics lab for, where Dave did a whole PowerPoint presentation on EV training and IVs.
That's
So that
neat.
was cool. But yeah, and then also how to play Pokemon TCG.
Man, I wish I had fun in college.
You could have. You should join anything.
Maybe if you came to game night, Saba.
Dude, don't blame me. Zach
Also
should've
your
gone
fault.
more friendly with me. Literally had to go home straight from class. It was not fun.
Whose fault is that? Not mine.
I'm sorry for living, Zach. Okay.
Live on campus.
Unacceptable. You are
Like
not
the rest
forgiven.
of us. You are not forgiven. How dare you live? But yeah.
Can't believe
I wish I had fun in
Saba
college.
hates us.
I feel like at Cogswell I had a very unique combination of good and bad, because like, man, there was some frustrating shit that happened at that school, like throughout the entire time. But then there was also some really great stuff. Like, despite ASB not necessarily being the best thing that ever happened to me, I still had a good time, you know?
RA was interesting.
Being an RA was pretty interesting, yeah. It was definitely not hard. It was just... And obviously I feel like...
you, the one who was never swindled into doing a tour.
Well, I wasn't the one that allowed myself to get swindled into doing a tour.
Yeah, okay. How about next time you be on the tour?
How about next time I tell you explicitly not to do anything unless Mr. Brown like wrote a contract, like signed an agreement saying that you'd get compensated? I wonder.
No, I said
I wonder
on the tour. No,
What do you mean?
I didn't say do the. I said be on there.
why? So I could ask like good
You
questions.
may want to go to the. Yeah, you may want to be at the. Oh my God, there were a lot of questions the first time, of like, and I didn't want to answer them because I didn't want to be honest.
Not with Mr. Brown standing right there.
Not with them being like, then they're like, how is it here? And I'm like, I want to leave, and he's standing right next to me.
I'm just gonna nonchalantly look over in this direction. Don't mind me.
I'll be like, it's a college, I think.
It's a college that has stuff.
I think you could say I think especially as well, because it's just like, yeah, it's one building.
It's one building, which doesn't necessarily like it doesn't like that doesn't
a business.
necessarily invalidate something being a college at this point, but
A one-story building.
a one-story
Yeah.
building with like next to no actual. Anyway, we don't need to turn this into a hating on Cogswell stream, because that's every stream. Oh my God! What have I done?
I mean, I'm gonna let you know, I personally like smaller space. I mean, I have nothing against it being smaller, because I mean, because it was much smaller, I also had like smaller classes, which I actually preferred versus like bigger classes. But, you know.
This was a bad idea.
I agree. The smaller classes were actually nice.
I actually got
the
to get a
student
like a
to teacher
relationship.
ratio.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I actually like the bigger
Like a
classes because it
student
meant I could
teacher.
hide more easily.
that's fair too.
It is true. I got super lucky because I think meeting up with certain teachers and like, you know, being able to get much more feedback and like much closer to them, I think it was
She's
a
talking
bonus.
about Skolnick.
Totally.
Like exclusively Skolnick.
Skolnick is great. I mean, also like he managed to like take us on like a field trip, which I don't think would have been possible with 200 plus
I'm
students.
so upset that you guys got to do that.
You guys got to do a field trip in the class that I was in but dropped out of?
So jealous.
No, this was in like a game writing, I think, class. So
I wasn't
it
in
was.
game writing, I was in script writing.
No, I know, and that's why I'm saying it wouldn't have been in the same class as you.
Oh, I thought you said
Yeah.
it wasn't in a game writing class.
No, it is. It was.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
still. Skolnick was definitely
my
a teacher
gosh.
who was... fine, whatever. He did not accept me
He
having
was
mental
definitely a
breakdown
teacher.
as an excuse for giving me more time on my final. That's all I know about him, really.
Damn.
Lawrence posted something that I must respond to.
Lawrence posted. What did Lawrence say?
Because I saw a clip. this dude.
Philippines, I'm sorry. You understand you insulted my entire race.
But yes.
But yes.
That's my favorite part of that joke is the but yes. Do I
What's his
really?
name? Jimmy
I mean, I'm
something?
kind of good to just. I beat the level. I'll at some point in the future I'll beat the level on 100%. But man, getting to that last final bit at the end was going to be really agonizing, and I kind of want to move on to something else. I don't think we're gonna do Pokemon Snap.
Well, yeah,
Saba.
there's more of us here right now, Zach. I don't mind. Not too
But that being
Snap
said, we
that
should play
back.
something else. I don't know what to play.
We should
though.
play Skyrim.
We could just play more.
I don't think I
Landlord
have
as well.
Skyrim on Steam.
I very
What
much
the fuck?
enjoyed the Luck Be a Landlord.
Wait,
Yeah, I don't.
hold
Yeah, I
on
don't
a
have
second.
Skyrim on Steam.
You don't have Skyrim on.
You
I
don't
have
have
3
Skyrim
versions
on
of Skyrim
Steam?
on Steam.
What are you, a Todd hater? A
I
Todd
don't.
denier?
I didn't actually like Skyrim.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
That doesn't excuse you from not
That
having.
doesn't
Listen, I
excuse
have
you
it.
That doesn't excuse-
Yeah, you better have it.
Everyone needs to own it. Does
Listen,
not
don't make
matter
us
if
clip
you
you through
like
the
it or
floor.
not.
All right. What to
Don't
play?
make us clip you through the floor and put buckets on your head.
Buckets on your head. We could do Luck Be a Landlord again, but I highly doubt that it'll be as
expert
interesting as the
connoisseur,
other
Grant.
video.
Yes, sir.
True, but
I have
that
all
was
3
fun.
versions.
I must
You
admit.
have all 3 Infinity Skyrims.
I could do I could do more split second while we talk.
I have
There's
Skyrim
so many
and Skyrim Special
explosions in that
Edition,
game.
but I also had Skyrim for the Xbox 360.
I had it on the PS3.
Fair enough.
A fellow man of culture.
I mean, I never played Skyrim, so I guess I can't say much.
Saba.
It's
You know,
bad.
Sacrilege.
It's bad. It's a
Listen,
bad
saying
game.
it's bad is not sacrilege. Saying you've never played it or don't have it on your Steam is sacrilege. Though.
That's sacrilege.
I
can't
didn't have
believe-
enough self-conscious, or like what was it, like self-awareness.
Self-conscious?
No, it was like, I don't know what to call it, but
Jiminy
like, I
Cricket
wasn't-
was on your shoulder saying, "Buy Skyrim, buy Skyrim."
My Jiminy
was
Cricket
him.
didn't exist. I wasn't aware of that
It
game,
was
so I didn't.
Todd
Really, Zach
Howard.
doesn't either.
Can't believe you guys don't have Skyrim.
My
Not even
Jiminy
one copy
Cricket,
on
my Jiminy
Steam.
Cricket just told me to buy Spelunky for the 5th time. So
But not Skyrim. Pretty cringe.
I have Skyrim on the PS3.
That's pretty cringe, bro.
Okay, that's fine. I thought you didn't have Skyrim. Period. That's
No,
fine.
no, no.
then.
I played Skyrim. I believe that my first and only playthrough of that game was I did the College of at Winterhold, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done with this game.
That's like one of the worst ones.
I actually had a great time. I actually really liked the doing the whole like College at Winterhold quest. It was really neat.
I mean,
It reminds you
yeah.
of going to Cogswell.
That
when I had to go
would
to
have been
Crips.
that would have been fucking 2 decades or like a decade
remember-
before Cogswell.
Remember when Skolnick gave us those fire shield scrolls, Saba?
And then he shot fire at you.
Oh my god!
And then the shields exploded and hurt us when undead would attack us?
Yeah, those were dark times. Those were wars.
That's what
forgot.
dark time.
How loud this game is.
Are you Which one are you putting on?
Split second.
Yeah, this was
No,
I
Snob, you
told
have to
you
say
there's
it
so
louder.
many explosions in this game. What? I can't hear you, Grant. What?
I can't. What?
What?
It's not that
Hello?
loud. I turned it down. Or I should have turned it down, I think.
you?
Yeah.
I can't see you, Zach. You're so far away. Can you try, yelling louder?
explosion.
You kind of feel like you're all the way across the country right now, Zach.
Shout louder, Zach.
Huh?
Cool.
What?
All right, there we go. A slightly updated title. I'm gonna keep this background as like the violet pink or whatever. It's pretty good.
Nice. Did you guys see that Injustice 2 got a 15 gigabit update? And people
For
were like,
what?
holy shit. Yeah, people were like, holy shit, what's it adding? Do you want to know what it added?
Microtransactions.
No, they already had that.
Oh.
It added fucking advertisements for Mortal Kombat 11, a game they just stopped supporting.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I saw it and I was like, what's this update for? Looked it up, uninstalled the game. I'm like, I'm not doing 15 gigabytes for advertisements. Are you
Nice.
kidding me? Fuck that. So yeah. Very cool, NetherRealm. Thank you.
I was gonna say they're the guys that are making all the fancy, realistic mocap fighting games now, aren't they?
Oh,
What do
I
you
don't
mean
know,
now?
probably.
I mean, relative now. They
Okay, here we go. We should be all set. Coming into split second.
Hold on, let me lower my
let's second.
my
It's
stream
more like
volume to
whole
0.
hour.
A second.
It should be a whole hour, maybe.
It got
Oh,
lower
right.
down
Controller
solid,
doesn't
too
work with
loud.
this because this game is 1,000 years old. I had to use mouse and keyboard.
What?
Actually, I don't hear
how can
anything
you
at
tell
all,
me
which is
that?
quite interesting, even though my my thing is not at 0.
Actually,
Maybe
me neither.
Maybe this is a blessing.
Blessing in disguise.
Should be able to hear it. Maybe it was just because when Lawrence and I played this, we definitely adjusted some of the audios. No, it's there. It should be. It should be audible. Oh, I can hear it very quietly.
I'm suddenly scared.
Why are you scared?
I don't know.
It's gonna blow.
Because
Our
it's gonna be
eardrums out.
really loud. Once you
I
get in.
programmed a jump scare into the
I
game.
prepare myself.
I hacked the game to add jump scares.
You
All
hacked it
not
to.
again.
Hey Saba, look at this! Look at this car roll down this hill.
Oh, sorry. Ooh.
Did you
This
guys fall
time,
for the jump
on
scares when you were
Split
younger?
Oh, there you go. There's audio. And now it's like loud.
The classic one where it's in the hillside.
Yeah,
One time.
I fell for it one time as well. I also fell for the maze jump scare.
I never fell for the maze one because I always saw that reaction video first.
I had a babysitter for a very long time, far longer than I should have had. But when I was like maybe 7 or 6. It's blurry, but I was around that age. At my baby's house, they had this like older teen who was like in high school, who didn't like talking to the people that his mom was babysitting for obvious reasons. But one time I was staying pretty late because my dad had to work overtime or something, and he invited me up to like, because I was very bored and I really wanted to go up there, and because I've never been upstairs. I don't know what's up there. And he was like, okay, I'll show you. And he showed me his room, which was garbagey and stinky, but he was like, here, let's play. Here, you can play a game on my computer to pass the time. Aren't I so nice? I was like, this is the coolest sticky stuff for me. I better take this seriously. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
It'd be
I don't
like
blame
that.
him. It's something I could totally.
Oh my
do.
god.
Wow, Zach, that was.
I'm so
Try another.
distracted by the fact that I can't
that
hear
one.
anything. Like the game's audio keeps like spiraling.
Like,
Oh, I'm sorry,
audio for
Lawrence. I'm
this is
trying
at
to be a
100%.
gamer. I'm trying.
When I was playing Ultra Sun, I definitely the emulator that I was using was fine, but occasionally it would stutter just barely, and when I turned this off, it was completely fine. So I played Ultra Sun like with no sound, pretty much, and it was.
Wait, you said you played on your computer, right?
Yeah,
What emulator did you use?
the lemon one, the one with like an
Citra?
orange on the thing. Yeah, Citra.
How the fuck did you get it to work?
I looked up a video.
No, right, but I mean, like, did you play it on like the small screen or whatever?
No, I just, I mean, it was, but then I put it to full screen. Put it
You and
Windows
I
full
will
screen.
have to talk. Because Ace Attorney
Mixer.
5 and 6 are for that, and then I also wanted to play, Sun and Moon, because I haven't played that, or X and
Yeah.
Y. And so I really wanted to play all of those, and Citra is, like, fine, but not great.
There's even a fucking motion controls minigame that I had to figure out, and I got that working too.
Oh, you mean the calibration?
Yeah.
Someone need... Oh, I lost.
The one where you have to, like, tilt the 3DS up and down.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, I wish that wasn't in the game. Doesn't really add anything. I don't know why they added the fucking dream drop distance diving mechanic to Ultra Sun and Moon.
Marketing. There you go. Now we have like actual audio.
You're familiar with that mechanic. It's the same thing, right?
I mean, yeah.
It's the fucking same thing. Why'd they put that in the two games that are completely unrelated?
Because they're gonna be connected, obviously.
Oh god, the Dream Eaters are all just
when Sora goes into the Kingdom Hearts world, there are Pokemon that are there.
Which Kingdom Hearts world? There's several.
The Pokemon one.
I'm really. Does Nintendo have a parent company?
I don't think so. I think they are the parent company, aren't they?
Right, like Nintendo. There is nothing above Nintendo. So it's like I'm wondering, like, can you imagine a day? Could you imagine God? But could you imagine a day where Disney does buy Nintendo?
God.
I'd rather not imagine it.
So Grant, remember how we were getting all depressed about like, man, Nintendo isn't how it used to be, and that's really upsetting.
Oh boy, are we going back?
Well, I watched a video today, and it wasn't explicitly about that topic, but it did involve that topic in a way that I didn't really anticipate, which was the video was, why don't companies support having social icons like they used to? Like the Iwatas and the Reggie Fils-Aimés and stuff. Like the person who works at the company that is like forward facing and, you know, like a big public figure, not just brought out for promotional stuff like Todd Howard, right? Turns out that it's actually just extremely detrimental to business to have somebody who actually has like influence over the company socially and internally. Because if they don't have influence over the company, they can't be that social person. They'll just be like a figurehead and no one really cares. But like Iwata was very popular because if he said that something was changing, it would change because, you know, he was an executive.
He was the fucking president.
And turns out that with most things, business doesn't really want you to be like have integrity or want like the best things for your customer. It just wants you to, you know, maximize profit. Money. Yeah, it just wants you to make money. And so it was fascinating to see, like, yeah, technically on paper, Iwata cost Nintendo like millions of dollars while he was president of Nintendo. But then again, he also saved them from bankruptcy from the Wii U. So it's true. So it's like, you know, technically from a business standpoint, he cost them money because in a business standpoint, Nintendo would have just shut down and they would have just moved on to something else. So you tie this into what we were just talking about, and it's just like, yeah, it really does suck that like good things just aren't profitable, I guess, like ever.
Speaking of capitalism epiphanies, I had a sad epiphany earlier, I think either yesterday or today, where I looked at a post and basically explained like, oh yeah, capitalism doesn't make money to feed people. It makes food to make money. So we've also invented scarcity. And I guess I was aware of the concept, but then it kind of sunk in. I let that sink in, as they say, that invented scarcity is a thing.
I mean, I've talked about it before, but it's 2021 now. So for about 40 years, scarcity has been entirely artificial. The U.S. alone has made enough nutritional downsets that it could feed the entire world, and no one would ever have to go hungry. But we don't do that, A, because logistics is crazy, and B, money.
Exactly. If people are fed for free, then they're not buying food. Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. But you know, what are we gonna do?
Start a revolution?
What are we gonna do? Leave the planet? We don't have that kind of money. Anyway, moving on to a better topic. Someone bring up a banter topic, because we do have a lot.
Do we? Yeah, there was a bunch that you did not check off that we talked about last stream.
I thought I did.
Saba.
Morale Association, I already talked about that. We already talked about Mike Tyson killed God. I talked about the concept of moves. Grant
did they not? Did I not check those off? I thought I did.
I talked about look like. Yeah, no, they still have the reaction.
Oh, my bad. I thought I did. And I mean, there is still a lot of stuff on there, considering we only make it through like 3 or 4 banter topics per per stream.
Oh yeah, you have to remove Grant. Yeah, Grant.
Yeah, I have some that are there.
Speaking about my job, I'm getting a job August 10th when the school year starts. So I'm going back to school, but to work, not to go to school.
Congrats.
I have an interview in 2 weeks. I had an interview, basically I had an interview to sign for a contracting thing, and then I'm going to interview with the company to contract out to the Eastside High School District.
Didn't activate the thing.
Yeah. So, that's going to...
Sorry, it was just the arrows and Zach just going, nah.
No, because there's a shortcut there, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they activated a shortcut here so I could get through, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I wasn't just being an idiot.
But no, that's great, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm working as a behavioral technician. I'm
excited for it, or just kind of like it's a job?
It's a job for sure. It's for sure a job where it's like, yep, puts money in my bank account. Which, by the way, I saw a fucking awful. I got sad because I saw one of those fucking sad posts where it's like a lady got fired for. Or no, sorry, I remember what it was. It was analysis from like the early or like mid 2000s of fucking undercover boss, or like a kind of like a analysis reaction video, where the boss was a boss for Hooters. Like one of the, like a CEO really hiring member of Hooters, and went to like a Hooters in Texas or whatever, and he ended up firing one of the employees for not being passionate about her job at Hooters, and being like, and because she said like, yeah, I got fired from my banking job, and so I'm just doing this to like get money for the time being. And he was like, I don't like that. I don't think you have what's needed to be to work at Hooters. You're fired immediately. And I was like, dude, that sucks.
What the
sucks.
fuck?
Sucks so bad.
That's awful. She was just trying to get money. What the fuck?
No, but Grant, you don't understand. You have to devote your entire existence to this job.
Listen, you don't work to live. You live to work.
What are you, American?
Yeah. On the other hand, there was this other girl who like was like, I love working at Hooters, haha, and it was like, if you wear this, that you could have a raise, and it was really sweaty and uncomfortable, and I was like, man, this stuff aired in the 2000s all the time, and I just did not watch it because it was on Cartoon Network.
What the fuck?
By the way, I watched I didn't watch. I watched a similar video where it's like a guy doing clips reacting to like an episode from the Jerry Springer show. I did not know that show was wild as shit. I just thought it was another Maury show. It's not.
The Jerry Springer. About to say, I saw Red Letter Media cover it, and yeah, that show was complete trash.
It's literally just a circus.
It's the Maury show if you went there just to see women like yank each other's hair out of their scalp.
Kind of. Grant, did you say that you saw it? Were familiar or not?
No, I'm not familiar with.
So, yeah,
you should explain who Jerry Springer
like,
is first, if you're aware.
It's like
what?
that.
The person, Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The episode that I watched, it had a lot of what Zach was saying, but I guess it might have been a later season than the one Zach saw, because it was both the component of like, oh, we're gonna put two women up against each other and they're gonna be really mean and physically fight, but apparently their audience is getting bored of that, so they also, without any explanation, added literally a guy like juggling in the background or like spinning plates on sticks the entire time. And it was just a circus. It was just quietly in the background because apparently their audience needed more visual stimuli. So they just added a guy spinning plates in the background while these people were like, "You're not the father!" And it's like, "You're the mother!" And then like fighting each other. And this one girl came in on a wedding dress and like stripped off her like underwear and like flashed the camera, and it was like, man, it's
The fuck is this?
This might not be the show that I'm thinking of. I'll have to look it up real quick.
I was gonna say, I complained. I remember when I was in my teens, I was like, man, Cartoon Network's not like it used to be. But now it's like seeing the competition it was up against, like, at least it didn't get that bad. I would take,
At least it didn't
I would
go
take
this
Destroy
far.
Will Destroy any day over that shit.
Would
True,
you?
it has Andrew WK.
Yes, it has, like,
Andrew
just like Grant just
WK
said.
isn't real.
Yes, he is.
He's been an alien
right
the
behind
entire
you.
time.
He's real in my heart.
You are correct. He is in your heart right now, like a disease.
Listen, if all the kids in the audience clap your hands and
Like a
believe that Andrew
parasite.
WK can be real.
He can be real for you. Despite
that man.
his rest in peace. Despite his persona, apparently he's actually a very like shy kind of guy. Where
Same.
no, not Jerry Springer, Andrew
I was gonna
WK.
say, fucking.
Andrew WK. Also, I think Canadian or Minnesotan. He has the
He's from the north.
yeah, he's from the north. He has the accent, but apparently he's kind of a cool guy.
By the way, I don't. Maybe might me misremembering, but apparently Jerry Springer also a mayor and a judge.
Okay, so yeah, so that is
What?
who I was thinking of. Yeah, so Jerry Springer was the mayor of something. I don't remember exactly what
It
state
was
it
some
was.
decently large city.
It was
or
some
town.
decently large city. But the thing was that he got caught spending like campaign funds on prostitutes. And
Yes.
then when it finally got when it got found out, he tried to like pass last minute legislation that would prevent him from getting evicted from office for hiring
Oh my
prostitutes
God.
with the campaign money. And then when that didn't work, he went out and he tried to like appeal to people's like to people being like, well, you
Baser
don't
instincts.
understand, I was having trouble at home and I just needed somebody to love me. And everybody was like,
He
oh
made an
really?
apology video.
Yeah, well, he basically made an apology video like back in the 70s or
Oh.
whatever. But then his wife made a statement being like, nah, he's a fucking liar. And everybody was like, ah, and they got rid of him.
Well, there was also the one was like there was another angle that he also tried to do was like where he like kind of tried to like own up to a little bit where he's like, listen guys, we've all done this before, haven't we? And like he tried to play that angle too at one point.
Everyone's like, no.
Everyone's cheated on their wife with a
Everyone's
prostitute, right?
embezzled campaign government everyone's embezzled task money towards paying prostitutes, haven't we? Honestly, stand up if you haven't.
God.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. I legitimately, for most of my life until very recently, thought he was just another like Maury clone.
Well, it kind of was. Kinda, not really, but
Kind
kinda.
of. If they'd screwed up the sequencing and there was an ape behind the computer.
I was
type
watching the Red
letter.
Letter Media video where they covered the Jerry Springer show at the same time that I was doing all those Steam demos during the Steam Next event. So you talking about the Jerry Springer show, all I'm thinking about now is like, oh man, that game was really good. I can't wait till it gets released for full full release.
And
Dude, look how much faster I am than these people. Oh my god.
I've definitely intentionally avoided like doing certain things while listening to certain music or like videos because I want to have curated associations when I think back on stuff before.
Lawrence and I kind of. Oh, sorry. Please continue.
I was just gonna say, it's because there's nothing worse than thinking of like, man, that was a good video. Too bad I was like fucking drawing enormous tits at the time.
Enormous tits. Oh, that's really good. Lawrence.
I
So
thought you were gonna say, too bad I was like sick throwing up in bed or something.
Exactly, yeah.
like associations where it's like, well, I'm not gonna make that. Oh, I totally could have made that.
Rest in peace.
Lawrence and I had a pretty decent conversation yesterday about Dragon Prince, the Netflix show. Excuse me. And after we were done talking about that, Lawrence was like, yeah, I was thinking about rewatching like all of She-Ra, just like binging it like episode after episode to see whether or not it's like any better than waiting. And I was like, yeah, very similar to what Adrian just said. I was like, yeah, I kind of want to as well, because Shiro was a good show. But every time a season came out, I was at such a different point in my life. Because like when season 1 came out, I know we were in that same apartment, but I watched like the entire thing with Lawrence and Janine, and then like went ballistic for 4 hours talking about like how Katra and Adora are like fucking fascinating characters, and you know, yada yada blah blah blah. And then season 2, I'm pretty sure I watched that with you, Grant, right? I watched that with you and Bobby, I think. Do you recall?
I don't know about season 2. I know because I started after season 2 was over. You showed me once season 2 had ended, and then we watched season 3 and 4 together.
Okay, because I do remember one of the seasons I watched with Malia as well. So
I
like
think that
that's
was season 2.
Okay, so maybe I got those ones backwards when I was describing it to Lawrence, but still, it was one of those things where it's just like, well, I could probably go back and it will probably be fine because the show is just really good, but it will definitely be a thought that comes up in my head where it's like, it's sad, Sag.
I remember we watched season 3 when it was just you and me living together, and we watched
What the
like
fuck?
the entirety. Oh my god!
It went up into the air.
There was a magnet
watched-
ceiling there for a second.
The entirety of it in like 1 or 2 nights, because it was just both of us, like one of us being like we should really like go to bed or do homework or wait and like, you know, put this out longer, and the other one being like, but what if we watched another episode?
But what if we watched another episode though?
Yeah.
Going off what Zach was saying about Malia's, there's definitely a good handful of songs and videos where it's like the concept of like a thing being, it was our song, but like not even a thing that you share, just a thing that you consumed while you were together with someone. I've definitely experienced that and been like, was it weird? Yeah, where I've been like, I didn't share this with my partner at the time, but I definitely watched a lot while I was still with them. So watching it now is kind of weird.
It's one of those things where it's like I described it to my dad because dad wanted to play all the Uncharted games together. This was something that we talked about like a year ago when we still thought that he was going to be able to move down here within a reasonable time frame. Down here to North Carolina, I mean. And it's not his fault, by the way, but it was one of the things where he was like, yeah, we should play all 4 of them. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then I remembered that, you know, all of Uncharted 4 I did with Malia, and that was like one of the only good things that we ever did together. So like that would be a really close association. And then every time I open up Netflix and there's like a new season of, what is the name? 7 Deadly Sins. I always forget it. But every time there's a season of that, I'm like, fuck that. Escanor though.
Escanor though.
Escanor
He
though.
makes it worth it.
I don't know. Did I like this car? It does have more speed. I'll pay. Whatever.
You know what one of my things of that is, where it's not a TV show, it's not a video game. Do you want to know what my thing is? Where it brings
It's a board
up those
game
old
where
memories?
whenever you play it, all you can think of is me flicking your piece across the room, and it fills you with rage.
I'll be back
It's,
in a second, guys. Continue.
It's
Okay.
a YouTube poop called "It's All Right Here at Your Fingertips."
Excuse you.
It has 6.2 million views, and my partner introduced it to me, and it's really funny, but also I can't think of it without thinking of my partner, so, or my ex, or whatever.
I got another one
Yeah.
where if I ever got the chance to be like, you know, just like one of those things that you see in like movies sometimes where it's like years have passed, like a decade has passed, and it's like, oh, this is like someone that I used to like know a lot or whatever. Because I remember Malia had this one song that she would constantly listen to, and I thought it was just like kind of annoying at the time. She was like, no, just like sit down and listen to it. You'll enjoy it a lot. And I did one time, and I was just like, I don't know, it's like really grating. And I vaguely remembered what the image, because it was a Nightcore, I think is what it's called, song, and I vaguely remembered the image of it. I remembered it being it looked like a cartoon character, but he was like melting with ink, and and turns out like a year after we broke up, I rediscovered that song independently without making the connection, and was like, oh dude, I love this song.
I was gonna say, Nightcore is it's a genre that I don't care for.
I like it sometimes. Sometimes it can be done well, sometimes not as much. Where it's just like, I like things that have like a beat to it, and if it's a fast-paced beat, I approve of it more. But I don't know. It was just one of those things where I thought it was funny, where it was just like, at the time I didn't like it, but then afterwards I liked it.
You're like, ooh.
I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I just killed 2 people, and now I'm in first.
I've definitely...
Man, I love this game. Where's the sequel?
As far as music, I've definitely been like kind of spreading out my taste in what I feel like is I guess, because there's not really, I don't think there's a correct way to consume music, and yet somehow I feel like the way I've been learning about music has just been more organic and good compared to how I used to do it. Where before I would literally only look up music if I found it cool from an animation or like a video or a YouTube thing or like a show or whatever. But now I'm just like, I kind of either I do that still, but also now I have Spotify and my friends recommend music sometimes. And if I find one song good, I'll check out the artist's discography and see if anything else is good there. And it's like, man, this is way better than just waiting for music to come to me.
Nice.
Searching for music.
Yeah, just like learning about new music at a reasonable pace and
people
stuff.
Yeah, that's always good. Not
That's
killing
good.
people, but searching for music.
Yeah, I'll say
Killing people can be good.
actually having like a good recourse for discovering music is quite good. I am still in that stage where I still like electro swing, but I don't really listen to it as much anymore since that one channel, I can't remember the name of it, like died.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the channel, unfortunately, but I used to like subscribe, and every time that they uploaded a compilation of electro swing, I would just like listen to it on repeat for like days. But wow, that was close. Holy shit. But now I just like listen to video game OSTs like a lot. I feel like that doesn't really broaden my musical horizons as much as I probably should broaden them. But whatever, it's fine. What do I really listen to music for?
You're not a musician, so you don't need to do that. It's
Well,
fine.
in theory, I want to be a creative director one day, and I think one of the things that's really useful when I'm like working on a project and people are asking me like, okay, how should this be? It's like making reference to things and having a more fundamental understanding of like how things work. So like, for example, one of the things was Grant made suggestions to like listen to a bunch of sea shanties, which I didn't like all of them, but they were kind of neat and they had like a certain vibe to them, obviously. So when we were making Safe Harbor, I was able to remember that there was a instrument called a fucking hurdy-gurdy.
Oh god, I love her.
And bring that up to our musician who worked on the project, and he was like, dude, that was a perfect suggestion. I never would have thought of that. And I was like, really?
Nice.
Thanks. I feel good about that.
I will say that I definitely
Be really loud for a second.
definitely learned about the hurdy-gurdy incorrectly.
Only on the next chassis-shaking episode
where
of
I learned of his
Split
existence through a character in a Final Fantasy game whose name was Hurdy, and it was like a bard. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. He used all violins, so I assumed that hurdy-gurdy was a violin. And I was like, oh, it's a cool violin. It's a cool name for violin. I played violin at the time. I was like, that's a cool name for violin. And then years later, like, oh, it's not a violin at all.
Damn
Been
it.
lied to. Get a few there.
Rex. Whatever, it's fine. Let's do a huge pivot.
In today's Split Second.
What do you mean no?
So how about the silicone chips they're putting in the smoothies nowadays, huh? I don't want them tracking my moves.
They can track you, and they have a motherboard, so they can track you and your mother.
I don't want them tracking my poops.
Motherboard.
I don't want them tracking my poops.
Ooh.
Poops.
I can
My poops
immediately
private.
go into the next thing.
What's for our poops?
I'm
No.
so
It's
tired.
like,
I've only been getting like 6
You're
hours of
tired?
sleep.
But what about this action-packed game?
if you could patch life to include a small quality of life fix, what would it be?
No clip.
That's not a quality of life improvement. That's a way to make 60% of the population just like disappear. Also, that would just turn everybody into God, because now you can just no clip through it. There's no privacy anymore.
Yeah.
That's terrible, Grant. I was going to say quality of life improvement that I would like to have in real life is basically just the movie Click, where if I'm not a fucking idiot like what's his face was Adam Sandler in that movie, I would use it to skip some of the like boring minutia of the day, like taking my shower. Like if I don't feel like taking a shower, I can just be like, all right,
skip button.
Yeah, cutscene skip of me taking a shower, so I don't so I don't have to physically do it, and that'd be fantastic. Like I'd love that. Like, am I gonna be driving to, like, cause like that was one of the conversations that I had with my my mom the other day, cause she was like, you should really think about getting an in-office job in Charlotte. And I was like, you realize Charlotte's like an hour away, like commute, right? Like I'd have to do that twice a day. And she was like, well, yeah, but you know, people do that all the time. And I'm like, right, and they shouldn't. Like, and I'm not doing that. Like an hour commute is not like, oh, that's just a part of the job. No, that's like a detriment that I should get extra money for. But then I thought about it just now, and it's like, actually, if it was an hour and I could just like skip it without actually having to physically sit there and deal with the full 1 hour commute, I might do that.
Like having to spend the hour but not waiting for it.
Right, because I have 24 hours in a day, and spending 2 hours a day just getting to and from work would, you know, be suffering, but I guess it's fine. What about you, Saba? What quality of life improvement would you add?
I feel like height would be a cliche answer.
Excuse you? Like to you?
Life update.
Yeah, to like me, it's sometimes
that's not quality of life though.
That's just a character update.
I'm about to say that's a balance adjustment.
I don't know. I feel like my quality of life may be so much better if I extra 2
Your
inches.
quality of life. Okay, I understand.
I was gonna ask Saba, how
dude, I
tall
just killed
would you
6 people, I think.
Like I said, I just want to be a nice like 5'2" to 5'4". I don't mind being shorter. I just want a couple.
Wait, are you not 5 feet?
Saba's like 3'2".
Yes, I am. Oh yeah, I'm explosively tiny.
Explosively tiny.
Explosively? That's an adjective.
Awesome.
Explosively tiny is a fucking excellent like descriptor,
Maybe it's because
Saba.
I'm just
That's
seeing
incredible.
so many explosions on screen, but yeah, that's the word that came out.
I love explosively tiny. It's not implosively tiny. It's explosively tiny. That's so good. Oh, that's so good. Well, that's not fair. If Saba gets to make a quality of life improvement like that, I want to be like 70 times more attractive, so that way I can get so many like easy breaks in life.
I thought you were gonna say 70 times stronger.
No, I want to be 70 times more attractive, so that way people will just give me money for smiling at them.
Well, I want to be 70 times stronger so I can lift big things.
Yeah, so I can lift things up and put them down.
Mine was, I had a really good one and then I totally forgot what it was as soon as they asked the question.
No clip.
It's not no clip.
Grant, no clip is not, that's like a dev code.
That's a cheat code, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a development tool. That is not
quality of life better.
Grant. Oh my god, could you imagine if like in the patch notes for like League of Legends season 15 they're like, yeah, we just added no clip, just type /no clip in and you can just walk around, you can still use your abilities and shit, have fun.
There's collision boxes where you can just kind of walk there. It gives the bushes are not really useful anymore because you just have vision of the whole map at all time. Oh god, that's so good. Can we get a real answer from Saba before we move on?
Oh my god, I mean, it's a hard thing to like.
It's quality of life. Maybe... Just think about like a video game where they added an update and it's like, oh, that's like nice.
Like something that could be useful for everyone, theoretically.
Like being able to
choose your height.
Breathe underwater? I don't know.
That's a balance update, Saba. Humans can.
It's too hard for me to understand. I'm only basic video
Unlimited
game girl, okay?
inventory.
You know what I would like? A third-person mode.
I would not want that. That's
Like
terrifying.
toggleable, like where you can toggle it. So it's not always on. You can toggle third-person mode on your phone.
I might actually really enjoy third-person mode now that I think about it, because like
And
like
maybe horrified.
did I ever tell you guys about like the one thing that I like prevented me from going? I still think about it from time to time, but like the one thing that prevented me from going to movie theaters for a while, I just had this irrational thought and fear in my mind that was I would be sitting in the
down.
no, I'd be sitting in the theater and somebody behind me would just have like a giant Bowie knife and stab it through the top of my skull. And like it was just an invasive
Right.
it was an invasive thought, and no matter what I did, I couldn't not do that, like to the point where like
sat
we
at
would
the
go.
top.
I remember when we went to go see Into the Spider-Verse for the third time, like back in California. I like kept looking behind me, and I don't remember who I was with, but they were like, stop doing that. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
What if you sat at the top?
Well, then I'm too far away from the screen. I still want to enjoy the movie.
Okay.
Well, then what if the
Okay,
wall
this game is
stands?
getting too loud for me now. I'm gonna lower it.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's an
don't know.
irrational, invasive thought, so I know it's not reasonable, but like, you know.
Even, I guess I would just say, even in games where like I don't customize that character or whatever, or it's like a preset character, I do like just going to third-person mode while I watch myself do things. I definitely because having to watch stuff on camera and do things not from your own perspective would definitely make manual tasks harder, for sure. But
Unless you had muscle
And
memory.
can you switch
I
out
guess.
in and out of third-person
Yeah, he
mode?
said that it would be
Yeah.
toggleable.
toggleable. You can like toggle on and off.
What
as well.
exactly are you toggling? How are you toggling?
Going from
You
first to
toggle it.
third, obviously.
Yeah. I guess I want to bring that up, the concept of muscle memory. Who here knows how to touch type?
You
It
mean with
depends. Am I
the-
thinking about what I'm typing?
I mean, so like, let's say that you can't see your hands or the keyboard, and you're looking at a screen and tells you to type stuff. Can you do that?
Yeah.
No.
Grant, do you touch type by orienting your fingers on the bumpy keyboards or keys?
Oh, I recall you talking
home
about
On
row.
the F and J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually have gotten better and better at that over the course of quarantine because I keep eating in my room and I don't want food crumbs to get in the gaps in the keyboard, so I keep putting paper towels over the keyboard.
You
Hi,
have to.
Adrian. That's pretty
pretty
funny.
But the upside of that
That's
is that
such a
I've gotten
weird
lot better at
solution,
touch
but an
typing.
effective one.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I know how to type without looking at the keyboard.
Well, I did before, but just not as reliably as I do now.
I'm about to say, like, because what I meant to, or what I was meaning when when you asked initially, where it's just like, if I'm not thinking about it, yes, because like, you know, I was working on Anomaly Containment Bureau today, and like I was able to type up 2 entire pages without looking at the keyboard because I was basically just thinking about what I needed to type. But if you put something on the screen and you ask me to like type it, I have to look down at the keyboard because I don't know where it is.
There. Also, I gotta get going. Goodbye,
Bye, Grant.
everyone.
Ramp.
Bye.
Isn't this normally when we start?
Yes.
It was nice having him.
Too bad he's
He
dead
will
forever.
be-
Too bad
he will
he's
be- yeah,
dead.
He will be remembered well.
Well,
You want to remember him, I don't know, badly?
I always do.
I want to remember him water source.
Water source.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. All right.
Funny
Vander topic,
stuff.
please.
Funny.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anybody?
I was definitely gonna think of something, but then I didn't.
No, just look at the list. We have so many things in the list, please.
No, but then I have to click things.
Dude, just come on. We have so many.
All right.
Saba, you can help
What's,
too, by the way.
What's everyone's favorite social security number?
Adrian.
I'll go first. Mine's 1.
You were the first American. And even the first social security number was 00000001. So it's like,
Did you just dox George Washington?
he was not around for social security.
Says you.
What are you talking?
How do you think he got pension?
By having the pen shinned up his eye.
It's true.
My goodness.
This is a good conversation.
Is
Oh
anybody
my
gonna bring up the topic, please?
All right, fine. I'll look it up.
We have so many
Okay.
topics on we have so many
Alright.
topics on
Enter topics for Obo stream, please. Thank you, Google.
Adrian, come on! We have a
It's a
channel!
killer conversation starter, so
Saba,
you
why
can
don't
talk
you
to
help?
anyone.
I am busy.
Not
trying
conversation
to panic.
starters.
Give me-
Zach,
Panic
what's
for
your
what?
Zach, here's one. What's your story?
What do you mean my what?
It's a conversation starter apparently, a killer
What's-
conversation starter.
what's your-
story?
Hey man, why are you here? Why are you at this bar?
What's your story?
That seems really
All
aggressive.
right. Keep the conversation going.
Adrian, please, just go to the Discord. We have so many things in there.
What a beautiful, cool, ugly, bizarre venue. Have you been here before?
I hate everything.
What's your biggest fear?
Yes.
What's your Wait, have you seen that video?
Maybe.
The one where it's Grant, myself, Dave, and Lawrence all driving to LNL, but Lawrence had to record a video for speech writing class because it was nonsense, or for speech and communication, and like that entire day we were doing the "What's your greatest fear?" like meme.
I
And
have
just like
not seen
repeating,
that video.
just repeating it over and over. I'll have to post it because I still have the video. I still watch it like constantly. It's so funny. But
Right.
like Lawrence like spent like 4 minutes getting mentally prepared to like do his speech while he was in the car because he had to do it in front of other people. So he was getting ready to do like a selfie, but I wasn't like paying attention. I was like looking out the window, and right as he starts, I just go, "What's your biggest fear?" Like directly into the camera, and I was like, "Oh." Sorry. What's your biggest fear?
Hey Zach, what's the best thing about working here? Have you learned any insider tips about working here?
I'm gonna just look it up myself.
Which of your family members are you most like?
These are
Oh, here we
terrible
go.
conversation starters.
Here we go. Conversation starters for kids. Do you think there are aliens on other planets?
What do you mean for kids? That's a conversation. I want to talk about
Who
that.
would win in a fight, a robot or a dinosaur?
All right, you know what? Fuck you, Adrian. I see that you've been skipping one of my topics for a while. I want to talk about second consciousness theory.
Okay.
So, are either of you familiar with second
What's your
consciousness
plan if there was
theory?
a zombie apocalypse?
I'm gonna mute you. You son of a bitch.
I am not familiar with second consciousness theory. What is it, Zach? Please enlighten us.
So you're familiar with the idea, like the idea of the consciousness and the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
So second consciousness theory posits that your subconscious isn't actually a subconscious. It's actually just like a second, like consciousness, like a second entity that is essentially sharing the same head as you. But the difference is that they don't have any like motor control, and they don't have direct contact with the primary consciousness. They're just like a secondary backup that helps run your instincts and stuff like that, essentially. Excuse me. And it was just a fascinating thing to watch. It was mostly like crackpot, like nonsense stuff, so I didn't actually believe any of it. But it was interesting to like listen to this person talk about it, because the lady who was talking about it was like, yeah, you could have the love of your life be your subconscious right now and you would never know. And I was like, all right, that's a little nuts, but also really
feels
funny to
weird.
think of. Oh, I died. So yeah, that's second consciousness theory. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm not gonna lie. I was listening for 90% and I blanked out the part that you said was interesting to you. The one sentence, the way the lady
The
said
part that I
thing.
thought was interesting was just just the general concept of your subconscious actually just being a regular consciousness that just has like no motor control or anything.
Okay.
I thought that was an interesting idea.
I don't know.
Not
I don't know.
having.
I mean, I guess
could you
like
classify your body as like a separate entity from your consciousness? Like a little
Obviously
bit?
not.
Well, because like sometimes it does something that you don't like.
I mean, you're
want
talking
it
about
to
like
do, right?
you're talking about like involuntary actions, and yes, like your heart beating is not controlled by your
Can my body
consciousness.
choose to get sick? I'm wondering if it's like cells at work where it's fighting on the inside with these tiny anime people to get rid of the bacteria.
I mean, I don't know what to say, man. That's like that's a tangent. I don't even know how to respond to it. Like I don't know. I don't think
all these people with COVID just choose not to be sick.
Yeah. Well, who are you, Gavin Free?
Yes. I guess it reminds me a little bit of a different thing, but to answer yours first, I don't know. I don't know what to think. It's a
I just thought,
theory that
like, I
don't-
mean, like, I'm about to say, I'm not asking you, like, do you believe it? I'm asking you just, like, how do you feel about it? I thought it was, like, a kind of a neat idea. Like, one of those pseudoscience things that I would write a short story about, like, a person whose second consciousness, like, gained motor control or something. I thought that'd be interesting.
I guess. I guess you could delve into, like...
I've been your subconscious for 20 years, and you do this to me? Like, they're all
and
upset.
also, like, how much personality? Does it have a personality? How much of one does it have?
I'm about to say, so according to second consciousness theory, like your entire personality would not exactly be different. Like obviously you would share most life experiences, but like your second consciousness would have its own opinion of you based on the decisions that you made throughout your life because it was basically spectating the entire time.
And that sounds like a horrible existence.
Like
Looking on all my bad decisions.
Well, so the thing is, and this was also mentioned in the video, was that like when people normally react to second consciousness theory, they say something very similar, where they're like, "Man, that sounds awful. Like that sounds like a nightmare." But
that's someone judging me.
Not even necessarily judging you, but the idea of like being that second consciousness and just being trapped inside, your own skull theoretically. How did I crash? So bullshit. The lady who was talking about it, she brought up the concept of like it's not actually that bad because the second consciousness has always existed that way and doesn't know anything better.
And this sounds really weird.
This is weird, champ.
Like if you swapped place with your second consciousness, you'd probably go insane. But whatever.
I'm a pretty passive person.
Are you? Do you think you could just hang into your own like brain?
I would
and
would probably do the JoJo thing, and I'd probably stop thinking after a while.
I really hope because by the way, Araki wrote that for Cars just because he didn't like have a better way of defeating an unkillable being. I really hope that is what happens eventually when you become like when you're immortal in a space where you can't do anything, because otherwise that's really bad. like just staying awake for the entire portion of your eternal life, just drifting through space, that'd be horrifying.
What's the quote? Go gently into that deep night or something?
I mean, do not go gently into that into that dark night. That's the exact opposite of what you said. Do not go.
Yeah. But in that case, then
well, because like
well.
do not go gently into that dark night is is the idea of like don't die pathetically. Make sure your life meant something.
Right.
Don't die.
But in the case that you're an immortal in like unaffectable
you can't
space,
die pathetically ever. You can you can only live pathetically at minimum.
Right. I wanted
guys
to
at
mention that
minimum.
reminded me of a thing that I did in a D&D game a long time ago, and that it made me think, expanding off of that just in general, the idea of like someone's memory being wiped in the sense that the person is still intact and has function, but loses effectively all the nurture of their personality, where you reduce them down to their nature. And like, what if they just lived entirely up to that point in a blank room and then walked out and they were there now? And like how that would change certain people.
I don't know how that would change certain people.
Cause I had this character who like was this really loud, brash, like fighter, like warrior type person who was like helping the party out, and had like a big chip on her shoulder and like had everything to prove, and was like rejected from a knightly order, and like her thing was like she was overconfident and like completely brash. And then I had a monster do that to her, and then the party had to watch over someone who was at core a deeply terrified and scared person. Until they like fixed her.
Just like ripping away their entire ego until, or rather the entire super ego until just the ego remains.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I just think it's interesting how that could affect like people or like certain characters. Like what if X character that was a good protagonist didn't have any of the trauma, just lived like an uninteresting life.
Just an
Like how their
uninteresting
nature
life, and
come
it's
out.
just their natural nature left behind.
Yeah. Well, their
The,
nurture left behind, I guess.
Tangent springing off of that. Saba, you remember me talking about the like inspiration for Overmorrow? Do you remember Overmorrow at all?
I always remember you like the name of this, but I need like a little bit of a.
Well, because the one that I
Reminder.
described to you like very frequently was Cyphernaut Zero. That's the robot one. But Overmorrow. Fuck. Overmorrow is the other one where it's like your classic like Zelda-esque RPG sort of thing. And the twist of the story is that the main villain, the King of Monsters, is actually just, oh god, how do I even explain this? I have to pause because it's gonna take me a second to like figure out how to explain this in words. So the entire game is actually a medical procedure that's being conducted on a dying man's brain, where his mind creates an entire reality, essentially, and you, as the main character, are a younger version of that dying man. And that dying man is separated into two parts. There is the guy himself, and then there is like all of his like deepest, darkest fears and whatnot. And the whole idea behind this structure was that the guy, like the actual antagonist, he himself is the ego. Like that's just him at core. All the fears and instincts and stuff, that's obviously the id. And then the main character, being a younger version of that character, is supposed to be the super ego, because the super ego is all the influences that came from outside yourself. And that's literally what the player is doing in the story, is that you're coming from the outside to the story to influence it. And I thought that was really cool.
Is this a game that you were gonna make or that already existed?
This is a game that I plan on making one day, and if I do end up making it, I'm gonna try desperately to make it my magnum opus, because that guy is me. The guy in the story is me.
This is the self-insert Zach story.
It's not even necessarily the self-insert Zach story, but like the whole idea behind the game is like I wanted to explore my fear of death and like try to quantify that in a way that people might be able to understand. And the only way I could think to do that was in a video game.
Well, I was gonna say, how many times do I get to introduce furry porn to the id and the ego?
Excuse you?
How many chances do I get to just, like, when they're having this big dialogue of, like, the monsters, like, or the villain, just pull out, go into my inventory and pull out furry porn?
He didn't even
Twitter.
ask for furry porn. You just bring it up
Yeah,
because social media.
Exactly. He's like, draw your weapon and we shall have this. What the fuck is that?
Not many times. Although most of the character designs haven't been nailed down yet, so.
If you had character information, I'd make my character a furry.
Die. Oh, thank God. Man, this race is really hard. Maybe I should pick a different car.
What are your other options?
Oh, I have tons of cars in this game. The problem with this game is that it definitely suffers from the thing where as you unlock more cars, the earlier cars become like entirely obsolete just due to stat degradation and stuff, or stat creep. And I don't know. There are other cars that I have access to right now that are a little faster, have a little bit less drift, a little bit more strength, and that might be really effective in this, just because this is a hard race in general. The car I have right now is really good for drifting, so I can use it to generate points really quickly, which I use to, like, you know, make stuff explode. I think that's 5th. I think that's another
Make
DNQ.
stuff go boom boom.
I think that's another DNQ, because I think you need to get, you need to get top 3.
Remember it's boom boom boom.
Excuse you?
Not that boom boom boom.
The music?
Somebody just referenced a really old song.
Black Eyed Peas?
Everybody say, way-oh.
What were we talking about?
What's that fucking song called? The one that goes boom boom pow.
I talked about that concept on news, job-ish.
Black Eyed Peas boom boom pow, yeah.
Yeah, I
Somebody
knew it was
referenced
Black
that.
Eyed Peas. I didn't even realize, but yeah, sure. Yeah,
I knew
why
boom
not?
pow was a lyric. I didn't realize that was the title of the song too.
Hey, Adrian.
Yes.
What is our lookalikes parentheses denim?
That was the video that I showed you guys that had the Grant lookalike in it. The video was called Denim Jacket.
Okay. Well, you said our lookalikes, so I thought there would be like more than just
Well,
Grant.
I brought in the topic to if anyone else has seen any other lookalikes. I hadn't.
Okay.
And no one else had seen any other purple look. Well, a couple of you seen some Grant lookalikes from cartoons. I think Zach.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that's a lookalike to me.
And
I don't know
then
if that's good or
Adrian
bad.
talked about applied topology. So every
Right.
topic that's left here that hasn't been checked off is me.
Well, then that's on you.
Well, that's not on me. That's on everybody else because no one else. Like, you should be bringing up, proposing more things. All right.
I'll be right back. I gotta pick up some food from the
Okay.
door.
While he's gone, I'll talk about the manhole cover that left Earth.
Sure.
This was something that I saw on Tumblr the other day when I initially proposed this topic, and I thought it was really interesting. And it was just the idea, not even like the concept, but the idea that there was the very first man-made object to make it to space was actually a manhole cover that was placed along this like mine shaft system, more or less. And there was an explosion inside the mine, like a huge explosion. And due to like pressure buildup, like because it essentially funneled the explosion to this one manhole cover, due to the explosion, compressing itself over and over and over again through this funneling system, the manhole cover not only got shot into the sky like a cannon, apparently it was going 40 times faster than the escape velocity of Earth, which meant that it definitely made it to outer space.
Ooh.
Which is really interesting because this apparently occurred like decades before like any of the first satellites got launched into space. So it's really silly to think that there's this one manhole cover just careening through
somewhere.
space at like an unbelievable pace. There's just this manhole cover that's obliterating whatever it touches because it's going so fucking fast.
I mean, there's probably some super arbitrary things in space. Like
Well, I mean,
from-
obviously there are, but it's just funny.
from this planet, like, you know, as they always say, like a bathtub in space.
What are you fucking talking about?
You haven't seen like that. I know some games just have like arbitrary bathtubs in space.
I mean, I know that one game that we played for the Game Jam had a bathtub in space.
Well, if you've played the, it's not like this is not a game. That has a.
Okay,
in
is that a
space.
reference to
Yes.
something, or is that just a joke?
I have no idea. No, it's not a joke. It's just I've seen that like in certain like games and stuff. Like they always like doing like toiletry in space. I always find like that super amusing. Like somehow a toilet's ended up in space and it's just
That's a good point.
just
How did that
flying
make
through
it up there?
space.
How
I
did
always
that
thought
happen?
that'd
Because
be
we don't have
quite
spaceships
amusing.
yet, so How'd I do that?
Oh, how'd you do that?
God, I hate this car. I didn't realize I couldn't do that. Oh, we got like half an hour left in the stream.
I've been back for a bit. I've just been trying to quietly unroll my pack, stop making bad stream audio, by the way.
That's fine. I appreciate that.
Totally fine.
They put so I do appreciate that they put a bunch of like tamper-proof like stickers on my thing, so it'd be like, hey, if the driver messes it, we'll know, or you'll know, and you can report it properly. But they added a sticker over the drink cup, and I can't peel off the plastic covering the hole where I put the straw in, and I. Because I peeled off and it did a thing where it peels off the surface like plastic, but then the sticky part underneath is still stuck there with a little bit of paper.
You should have just pierced it with a sharp straw.
I don't want to put plastic adhesive in my drink.
Pierce it with a sharp straw, Adrian.
I don't want to cleave it in one fell blow.
Okay, I'll be back in a sec. You continue talking about stabbing things.
You're Irish?
Well, she's gonna be
Apparently,
soon. She's
I
going
have
to
to
Dublin.
practice, so I'm trying.
I don't know what that means, but I'm still struggling with this fucking drink over here.
What should the final topic of the evening be? I think, I don't know, we probably don't have enough time to fully explore this topic, but I did watch this video where the guy basically covered all of the times that CinemaSins actively like misrepresented the movies that they were quote unquote reviewing. And it was an interesting thing. He did like multiple videos on this topic. And it was an interesting thing because I've obviously always understood CinemaSins to be like satire, right? Like it's not real movie reviews, it's just supposed to be like jokes. But then in the last video that the guy ended up doing, I think it was like episode 4, he went into the comments of like a bunch of the different CinemaSins things, and there's a lot of people that weren't aware of the fact that CinemaSins isn't supposed to be legit criticism, it's just supposed to be a joke. And they made decisions based on that based on that misconception. And I don't know, that's interesting. So the topic that I proposed, like the vernacular that I proposed, was something along the lines of the in-joke and how being excluded from an inside joke can, you know, affect somebody's perception of something, and whether or not the people who are in on the joke should take responsibility for that.
Sorry about the slurping,
like,
I forgot that I was not muted.
There was, no, you were muted, there was no slurping.
Oh, never mind, I thought I was slurping really loudly.
Nope, you were okay.
But, I thought that was going to go in a different direction, so I formulated I was thinking in my head for a different answer to the question you were going to give, and then it went the wrong way, so...
What were you thinking I was going to propose?
I was just thinking about the common misconception of like something, or like not understanding something satire and thinking it's supposed to be taken seriously, and how that's a common like phenomenon nowadays.
Oh no, I it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same concept, I guess. Like mine is just the second tier assumption of that. Of like, should you be? Well, it's different because it's like, what was
Should
it like?
Rick and Morty take accountability for their fans?
Kinda, I guess. Where it's along the lines of like, if you don't get a joke, that doesn't mean that the joke is bad. That just means that you don't get the joke, right? But if you then
context,
right, because context and understanding matter. But if you hear a joke that you don't realize is a joke, but you actually just think that it's like a statement, like this is one of the reasons why racist humor isn't really like wholly acceptable nowadays, because despite it being a joke in theory, you know, intended to be humorous, a lot of people just listen to racist jokes for validation and stuff.
I was gonna say, wasn't this Sidney Powell's defense?
Who's Sidney Powell?
Sidney Powell is one of Trump's hardcore supporters who really pushed the election was rigged thing. And then later, when people got uppity in court, because turns out that didn't happen, her defense was basically
no reasonable person would have believed me.
No reasonable person would believe me, exactly.
Kinda, and it's kind of the same thing where it's and you're actually touching upon like the secondary topic, right? Which was like, should people be taken accountability for the things that they say in this context? Because once again, as with like most things in this realm, there's like a gray area that's nearly impossible to identify. But it's like speaking specifically on the CinemaSins part, right? CinemaSins advertises itself very specifically as movie reviews, right? Because like their thumbnails are everything wrong with blank, right? And that's fine. Like the jokes are pretty okay. They're pretty funny, but the fact that they make so many of them does lead to a reoccurring issue where they go for like low-hanging fruit as opposed to like actual good written humor, like actual good written satire. Sometimes they'll just go for the low-hanging fruit of like, they constantly do the they constantly do like the roll credits joke and like, I guess that's just like a meme at this point, but still. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, once again, you've obviously already acknowledged the idea of this question, which is just like, if I don't understand the joke, is it my responsibility to discover that it's a joke? And in which case, if I thought it was real, but it was actually a joke, how am I supposed to realize that on my own? Right?
I mean, normally I would say, like, if you say something about it, right, normally someone would correct you, because I'm going to just go with this being an inside joke, because context matters, and you're just going off the assumption that, like, you understand the context, when in reality you don't. So normally people that just, like, inform you if you say something. I think the biggest thing for people is that people's initial emotion to being like misunderstanding something is like embarrassment, which could lead to them lashing out and being like, well, I'm still offended at this.
Dude, I think I just killed 5 people.
That was a giant crash.
I think part of the important component of like the answer is the magnitude of action the person does as a result of their misconception.
I can agree with that. Like, if you just say like, hey, I don't think this is like, or like, what is this like statement? Obviously, it's easier.
Right, but if you end up supporting a riot because because of it.
I mean, sure, obviously that's intense. But the thing with that, Adrian, is that it's not one misconception that led to people supporting the Capitol riots. It was compounding misconceptions that were never like properly opposed. You know what I mean? Where suddenly the responsibility for the thing is separated among like, hundreds of people.
Right.
And it's that's a really big conundrum to have to think about, where it's just like, once again, it's one of those things that's really fascinating, where you can take the basic premise of just, should CinemaSins, make it more clear that it's satire and not just a review, or is it on the responsibility of the individual to, just innately understand that, I guess.
See, Zach, I think something a part of like your an answer I think that you would want to like, or I think you especially would like to take note of, is especially how big that creator is. I know we're talking about CinemaSins, so they're like particularly
they're pretty big.
So
they have a pretty big reach.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, right, for someone like them, I think your particular answer would be like, well, I think they should just be clear, because that just helps them. Not only does that like prevent like confusion, but it's like helpful to them. But I don't know, like for smaller people.
I was gonna say their size gives them a bigger responsibility.
Well, but that's the thing, Adrian. That's the thing, Adrian, is that so many like people on the internet refuse to acknowledge the fact that being, significant on the internet does give you more responsibility, because they don't want to accept it. It's kind of it's kind of a topic that we've talked about multiple times, Saba, where it's just like there are so many things where people want all the benefits of A without any of the responsibilities of A.
Yeah, or I was going to bring up, though, it's like, but it's also like the people that didn't expect it, right? So that's like they barely got like what they came for, or like they barely got the time to, you know, have the inside jokes before. Now it's like, well, I can't do any of that. Right? It's like the overnight fame. If you kind of
More or
what
less,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So
I think another component of it is like, what do you lose by taking responsibility for this thing? Like, what does
You have to put more
videos
effort
get-
in.
I was gonna say, do they get worse if you had like make a quick disclaimer that you put at the beginning of the video? Because that might be tedious or something, but it could cause people to not think that you're serious anymore or whatever.
Right, like it might color the perception of whatever content you're putting out because people thought that it was serious and that's why they came to you, right?
I think it might also
imagine
fans.
Saba if fucking Stuckman revealed in the video like, yeah, the entire time I was just like making jokes, like all of my opinions weren't real.
I know exactly. I know what you mean. I think it also. I think one. It depends on because it's like this is like social interaction, right? To a certain degree, at least culturally, for like Americans, we understand like sarcasm.
A lot of other cultures do not.
No, I know, and that is why you will take note that I said America.
No, and I agree with
yeah.
you, yeah.
So I think to a certain degree, maybe if it's like not including the other cultures, like I think. It's to a certain degree, if it's quite obvious, then I think maybe you don't need it.
Quite obvious quite obvious in that it's satire or whatever.
Like, yeah, it's sarcastic because obviously sometimes like there might be a line where it's like you just this person really it's hard to tell, and it may just not be like, and then it's like maybe you may or may not need it. I think it also has to do with the fans, right? If like a majority of the fans understand like this, then once again they'll like tell like the people who don't know that it's like, hey, like this is what he is about, and like hopefully, you know, if they don't like, if they're not going to be like, you know, oh gosh, I just don't care, whatever, hopefully they'll be like, oh, okay.
Like I'm trying to think of an example where it's just like, I remember for a while there was a thing in the relatively early internet where the Game Grumps were actually influencing a lot of like accent humor on the internet that isn't necessarily the, you know, the best thing on the internet at the moment, and there was just a lot of stuff there, and the you know the discourse around it was like, well, you know, they're just making a joke, so you know the fact that this joke became popular because, and you know obviously accent humor has been something for, you know, decades, yeah. But like just because like the Game Grumps did it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to take responsibility for it, and it's an interesting thought, I guess, where it's just like your influence led to some sort of cultural whatever.
I think, right, because it also depends on the fans, right? It's like who is what target like audience I think you're reaching, which like
because like Game Grumps is obviously like younger people.
How good is your audience at picking up social cues that aren't spoken out loud?
Well, once again, that's like something, and this is like very specific to the internet. Most of the time, you pick up on that through body language, and obviously there are people that aren't very good at like picking up on body language, but that's okay. Like that's fine. Usually, it's like a mixture of A and B that lead to people having a better understanding of, you know, what your intention was with a joke or with a comment. I think
some of it's like innate as well. Like I know to a certain degree, but that's like going to more biology. So like sometimes it's like we kind of sometimes inherently understand certain body language.
I would definitely think that like tone and I guess context would imply things like satire more than body language, I guess.
I can see. I think it's like a good mixture of like
tone. I agree with.
Well.
I don't know about context, because the thing, like, especially if we're talking about like protracted content, not even just like YouTube stuff. Finally, I got top 3. Holy shit! But not even just like YouTube content, but just like, you know, news stories, right? It's impossible to get full context because you have to be completely saturated in whatever you're going to get context in order to have full context of everything. And that's just not how things work.
I don't know if you need full context. I mean, I guess like, I guess just the context relative to whatever you're talking about in a broad scope of like, oh, well, if I got a little bit wet from a water balloon fight,
Next
and I
time,
say I
strap
got
in for the
flooded,
split-second mid-season
then knowing the
spectacular.
context like water balloon fights
You
are literally
really
small
don't want to
pools of
miss
water,
this one.
That context tells you that's probably satire or exaggeration,
Right.
rather than
That's a good point.
rather than using it serious.
That's stuff.
As
that
opposed
stuff,
to
like,
just
makes
the
sense, I
independent
get it.
comment, which might make it seem like your house got filled with water.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Okay.
that makes sense too, because context could also mean like, well, what type of person is it? What type of background do they have? Maybe they like understand things a little bit more innately.
The epic journey
If
to
Jeremy
Blue
Dunham
Crown
say some
season
shit on
champion
stage,
gathers
then I'm
pace.
definitely thinking of a different
It's action all
person
the way
saying that
as the
than if I hear
gates to
Bernie
the power
Sanders say the
plant are
same thing
thrown
on
open
stage.
for the first time.
That's true.
Yeah, so
Well,
like
that's because
the-
you
like
have a
the
different
person-
understanding
yeah.
of who those people are as like a base person.
And I guess that counts as different.
But most people
With an
do.
exclusive card
Yeah.
at stake for today's winning
Good
contestant.
point.
Hold on to your seats
So if it's that
because
kind of
things are
context,
about
yeah.
to get even hotter.
I would say that tone and context are generally things that you can preserve or maintain better than body language on the internet.
On the internet, probably, I think. I mean, I
At
know
least to a
that sometimes
degree. The context can
sometimes
also falter in the internet more than obviously.
I mean, sometimes like videos of like, I mean, sometimes you can see body language, right? So it might help,
Right.
but I think in most contexts we don't normally have that, or at least there's a good bit of the internet that doesn't have it. So
Definitely like podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
exactly.
But I guess like circling the wagons back to the original point where it's just like, so what do you do about like CinemaSins? Because CinemaSins has made an actual demonstrable effect on like real world Hollywood marketing for movies and stuff.
Fucking cancel them, cancel. They're canceled. They
Well,
fucking
that's the thing. And like, I don't think that
market.
I don't think that they deserve to be canceled, but they do definitely, like, it does definitely seem like they need to take a little bit more responsibility for the content that they put out, I guess, because it is different, you know.
I think you can also, if they need to inform someone of something, right? Like, because if they have a big enough fan base and the big enough fan, like, you may only need to say it once too, you know?
Well, definitely not.
And then the fans will help.
You will definitely like if you made it your channel trailer on YouTube, sure, right? But like if you say it once, that is definitely not how like the online community works, because more than 50% of your fan base will miss it, and then like it'll be
Okay, if
lost
there's,
to
like,
time.
I was gonna
like,
say
you know,
you're putting
50%
too much faith
miss
in
it.
fan base, Saba.
Yeah, I'm about to say
Maybe
like the
I am.
fan
No,
base
that's-
isn't religious. Like I want to say like even for like the Game Grumps or whatever, who are immense, like their channel is enormous. I want to say like only 10% of their fan base like consistently watches their content every day.
Okay, then I may say, like, well, depending on, I guess, the statistics of like how many people watch and like stuff like that, maybe there is like a fun, or like you know, every like month, or like there may be like a formula to it where you know, it doesn't even have to be that
I say
big.
you just have like a small disclaimer at the beginning of your stuff, like kind of like what
yeah.
YouTube is like legally required to do now, where it's the like you're legally required to disclose that something's a promotion or an advertisement.
I'll be right back again.
Yeah.
Sure.
See, the thing is, though, it's like, you know, sometimes, like, with sarcasm, right, that's, like, subjectively understood, whether or not you can, like, understand that it's sarcasm versus something's just clearly
that's not
promotional.
but that's not the thing though, because it doesn't matter who perceives it. If you're making it with the context of sarcasm, you can definitely state that I mean this to be sarcasm. Right, because like a big thing, and I don't necessarily want to get into the
like,
I don't
you can even
necessarily
say
want to
it's
get
like
into the
it's
political
supposed to be
sphere
for
again.
comedy. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to get into political sphere again, but there are a lot of people on the internet, on both the left and the right, that claim that their content is comedy while also expecting people to understand it politically. To make
Like
decisions.
political comedy?
No, not even political comedy. Like, I don't necessarily want to use any specific examples, but like, it stuff where
Sucker 96.
stuff where people like there will be certain people on YouTube who make jokes at the expense of politicians for whatever reason, and it's supposed to be like it's just a joke, whatever, man, but in actuality they're stating their real opinion, but because they don't actually have to say whether or not it's comedy, like the lady that Adrian just talked about, the one who was like no reasonable
Sydney
person.
Powell.
Yeah, Sydney Powell. The like where she says like no reasonable person would ever take this seriously. Well, okay then, cool. Disclose that it's not supposed to be taken seriously then, because the context is lost on a lot of people, and disclosing the context is incredibly important. Fuck you. What the fuck, dude?
I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter if they're not genuine. That's a second defense. But
No, but that's what I'm saying.
assuming the person means well.
No, but what I mean to say is that like on Reddit you have this really ridiculous thing of most Reddits have a serious tag where you're trying to have a conversation that is serious and not a joke, guys. Imagine if politicians had to do that, where instead of it just being like if you certify that you're being serious with what you're saying, then legal action can be taken against you in the future if you were purposefully being a shithead.
I mean, that's kind of implicit is the problem. That's expected of politicians.
Right, but what I'm saying is that that's obvious. Like obviously they don't do that though on both sides, not even just Republicans. Like Democrats do it all the time too. And so it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not even just thinking about like politicians. I'm thinking about people whose voice is heard on a regular basis by more than like 20 people. Right? Because that's how human society like functioned for like hundreds of years, was that people were really small in like their influence. And now because of like television and the internet and stuff like that, people's influence is immense. And it's like, that's not a person anymore. That's a entity. I guess.
Dude, I make posts on Tumblr that get hundreds of notes.
You should have to, I say that you should have to disclose whether or not your post is serious.
My post has 3 words. It says the bad kids, and then it's a group of characters called the bad kids from a show that I watch.
Agreed. Tell me whether or not it's serious, Adrian. Is this supposed to have political commentary? Yes or no?
I mean, one of them's gay. Is that political?
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but it might be.
But this topic mostly ran away from where I was like intending on it to go. But it was just stuff where like let me give you an example, and this is more of a like Twitch culture thing, I guess. But like I talk about Northern Lion all the time, because despite the fact that I think he's kind of a shithead now that he's like really uppity about being a father, he has like this thing, and I described it to Grant a while back, but he has this thing, this reoccurring joke where if somebody gives advice, whether or not it's good advice is irrelevant, but if somebody gives advice or does a little bit of backseating when he's streaming to like, you know, either genuinely be helpful or be an asshole, once again, doesn't matter, he'll do the joke where it's like, listen, if I wanted to know the lyrics to the outro to Sword Art Online Season 2, I'd ask you. Otherwise, be quiet, right? And that's totally, you know, like he's allowed to make those jokes, but I've actually seen that type of like response like propagate out into like the general internet. Like I've seen it in different locations now. And it's an interesting thing where it's just like, man, that's like, he is just large enough to have this level of influence over
like
the internet.
Joke is spreading.
Like the joke is spreading, and it's doing literally nothing to help with like the quality or health of like general discourse, but yet he will not take responsibility for it because I'm just telling jokes, man.
I mean, there has to be a limit. Like, you know, if I say a joke, right, and like a fan of mine or whatever likes that joke, so they're gonna take that joke and like put it somewhere where it's not like helpful. It's like, well, I don't know how much like responsibility do I said the joke, but no, like no
but
one
you can
said for me to
say
take
but
the
you can
joke.
say jokes while also being not just being a caricature, I guess. Because like Northern Lion says it literally anytime someone makes a suggestion.
I was gonna say, there are jokes that cannot be harmful, I think.
Yeah.
You can just say weird syllables of just like you can just say weird things.
like Bergie from the Game Grumps. Bergie has never harmed anything. Period. Bergie is just like a silly character that they introduced one time because like the stream died. Or not even stream, but because the video died and they just did like a little podcasty thing. And it's like, that's a joke. Like, that's something that's totally harmless and, you know, doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't, like, introduce a facet to the culture. Because, like, I don't know, like, if we... like, think back to when we were streaming for a while. Imagine we were bigger, right? And the joke / meme of me muting Saba whenever she was getting a little annoying. Imagine if that propagated out on the internet. And just people would just be doing that all the time.
Sabas.
Not even just Sabas, just like the person, potentially even the woman in a group, just constantly getting muted because, you know, they were being a little annoying. Like that's not
hopefully
like.
that should be a thing. Well, then that like, well, luckily, like you
well,
said,
guess
like,
what, Saba? You just said hopefully,
you...
and that's the problem. Is that it's not hopefully.
It's,
every time you say hopefully, you are introducing optimism to the internet.
Exactly, which is not a good idea.
Where it's Zach, it actually happened to you, where people told you that this was not good, and you stopped.
Right, but once again, that's because I have accountability for the content that I try to make. Whereas somebody like Northern Lion sees it as a job that he clocks in for every day, and he's doing. How did I wreck myself? What?
Well, in
whatever.
that case, it's also like Mars. It's also from my end to be like, well, this just isn't fun for me, and I'm not getting anything out of it.
Right, and this is, and that would be
like
like a joke specifically against you, right? But it's like, I don't know, like imagine if we had a joke similar to that against like chat, where it's just like, you know, imagine we had a fan base, and anytime the fan base was, you know, being horny or whatever because there was like a pretty girl on screen in the video game, and I was just like, all right, you're banned.
I mean, some people do that though. Some people are like, you know.
No,
but, I mean,
I guess that's a bad example, but
I think that might be
like say like if you use the letter Q in my chat, I'm gonna stop your toes until they can't move. Like propagating violence or like, because that's obviously satire or a joke or too far.
Right, because like I'm not gonna do that. But like somebody who's not paying attention and isn't in the know wouldn't know that. Right? Because once again, out of context, really it just sounds like I'm promoting violence.
Like like everyone who does this thing should have their toes stomped.
But then that also seems very arbitrary, right? Like just like.
Well, the whole thing is the whole thing is arbitrary. But I guess like the whole point of what I'm getting at here is that this might be like a completely gray area, but the gray area does have borders, and I do think that both ends of the border should be brought closer to the center. I guess. Where it's just like...
Yeah, classic centrisac.
Well, it's not even really centrist. It's more... And I don't even necessarily... Like, unfortunately, there's, like, no political monikers I can use for, like, shorthand for, like... Like, I just want to... like, can I just be a reasonableist? Like, is that, like, a thing? Like, because it used to be... Like, I used to call myself a centrist, but then centrism, like, evolved and became terrible, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not a centrist anymore. And then it's like, all right, well, then I'm a moderate. And it's like, oh, well, guess what? Moderism is not a thing anymore. So it's like, I can't be that. Oh, I'm a progressive. Oh, progressives have trouble now.
I mean...
I'll just adopt the moniker of monarch.
Of monarch? I'll just do that?
I'll just say royalty. Yeah. I'm now the king of my bedroom.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Cool, I finally wrecked that guy.
But whatchamacallit, is it, are we also assuming that, like, the majority of people that we think will be in these scenarios will be crazy people?
I think you have to. I don't think you have to assume the majority. I think you have to acknowledge that it's a possibility.
I was gonna say, also calling people that can't pick up on context clues crazy on that basis alone is a little bit sus.
That is a little extreme, and I know Saba didn't intend that.
I know it just means that like people
as
that
someone
want
who
to go
struggles
insane
with
based
that
off
personally,
everything.
I struggle with that personally.
Oh well, Adrian,
Just because I'm insane, that was a lucky guess.
Just because that's a lucky guess.
That's funny. But I'm also not talking about people who are just about like that facet that you can't pick up like the context. I'm just saying in general, like for people who can't like, you know, who like blow up at anything. Let's say,
like
for
I guess
example,
I guess I don't know, like I guess it's the sort of thing where it's just like I feel like once you get to a certain size, like a certain level of influence, whether you be a company or an individual or an influencer in general, I feel like you should have to be more conscious about the things you do and the things you say out of context, because suddenly when you get large enough to do that sort of thing, context isn't implicit anymore, right?
I mean, that I think is, which is like, I think I agree that people don't care about context anymore, but I think that's a horrible thing. Like,
no, but I'm not
throwing
saying
out
like
context
no,
is
I'm not saying people don't
bad.
care about context. I think that if you told people the context every single time for everything that you did, people would be like, okay, that's fine. But obviously that's exhausting on an individual basis. It's more along the lines of like, you don't have to make racist jokes anymore because like A, it's bad, and B, now you have like external context that isn't like implicit in the stuff that you say anymore, right?
Like my friend Jonah, you might recall Jonah from that one time I brought them over for game night.
I brought him
right, Zach?
twice, and I remember him very distinctly.
Yeah, I brought him twice. Yeah, me and Jonah constantly throw race jokes at each other. Out of context, that'd be unacceptable.
Out of context, it seems not great.
It seems horrible, but I'm Asian and he's black, so we know that we're not gonna be racist to each other because we're pretty close friends, and that's context. That's very crucial to interaction. But if it got out, be bad.
As well as like you know, where you do it, right? Because there's this idea of like privacy.
Context.
Like if you do it in like the privacy of like YouTube, then it feels
YouTube
different
is not
than
privacy.
public. I did not say YouTube.
Oh,
I
you said
YouTube.
U2, sorry.
Yes, YouTube.
But that's actually like a really good example, right? Because like if that's part of your discourse between you and Jonah, and then imagine you and Jonah like starting a YouTube channel because you were bored and wanted to do something fun, and then your YouTube channel got big, but that part of your discourse never left.
Right. That's our
What the
responsibility.
fuck? That was such a low speed crash. Sorry, please continue.
There's such a
just
low
screaming.
relative speed there, but man, I had to figure out relative speed within the span of 30 seconds with D&D game, and I did not study that in school. So anyway,
What relative speed of just the difference of speed of two things?
Yeah, like if one thing is moving at X speed, one thing's moving at X speed plus 30
You just
feet.
subtract the greater or the lesser from the greater, right?
I did not know that intuitively. It took me a couple of seconds, very sweaty seconds, to figure that out. Wait, hang on. Math figured this out. How do I find the math? But yeah.
But anywho, yeah.
Yeah, like if that gets out, that's on us to
Take
not
responsibility
do that
for it, I guess.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah, that's if you do it in like if you start doing it in like public, right? I mean, you could also
Yes, that's
also
exactly
just be
the
like,
context that we just stated.
Yeah,
But it's the sort of thing, because like Saba brought this up too, of like, what if somebody just does something without the intention of becoming like an influence, but then it happens? My response to that,
incidentally caught and become viral.
about caught in like they incidentally get wrapped up in the algorithm and become like huge influencers or whatever. My response to that is like, well, that was a possibility from the get-go. Even if you don't acknowledge that possibility, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
well, sure, Zach, but then it's like saying like there's a chance that an avalanche will happen if I like.
No, that's very
ski.
different actually, because
I mean,
because
how many
YouTube
people
is
get
not
viral
designed because
overnight?
YouTube is not designed to make avalanches. It's designed to make influencers. So that's because it's like that's actually a ridiculous equivalency because that's not even relevant.
I guess
I
it
know the
depends
intention
on.
is to, but that's not being overnight famous. Isn't normal.
I'm not saying be overnight famous. That's not what I said at all. Now you're putting words in my mouth.
But
The
this
point,
is what I brought up. So I
no,
don't,
that,
why
yeah, but no,
fucking-
you brought it up in response to the thing that I said out of context. Once again, the point of what I said was that if you are doing something and there is a possibility that it leads to you having grander influence than you initially intended, that's not an excuse to then abdicate the responsibility of that influence.
after the fact.
Yes.
Okay, if it's after the fact, then after you become famous, then like sure. But it's like I thought you were talking about like beforehand. Like beforehand, you need to already act as if you're already famous.
Not necessarily. Like, I do think that
Okay.
just for the sake of being decent, I do think that you need to at least, you know, be careful of, like, what you say and what you do. But that's just, like, you know, living in a society type stuff.
Okay.
It's like preparing for an avalanche when you're going onto Mount Everest or preparing for an avalanche when you're in the desert.
Exactly. Where it's like one of them is ridiculous, that makes no sense, and the other one is like, okay, that could happen. I don't expect it to happen, but it might happen, so I should prepare.
That said, there are also incidental people that other people are filming without consent, and then that gets so grave. Like, well, I didn't even want this. This just happened. I was just in the place. Thing happened to me. It caught me at the worst moment. Stuff like that.
Right, but that's like the thing is that what was the name of that stupid girl who did the how about that? Remember where she got into like a fight on like TikTok or Vine, and she got like really famous off like her slurring the words. How about that? She turned that like inadvertent thing into a like social media career, and she still uses that. And so like that's the thing where it's like that was a random event that she didn't plan for, so she doesn't have to take responsibility for that individual event, but she does have to take responsibility for profiting from it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's after the fact, right, then now you're in that position. Okay.
Yes,
I
I'm
think
about to say, the point of what
before and after. Yeah.
the point of what I was saying was not that, you know, by the literal possibility that a person might become famous one day does not mean that everybody needs to act as if they're a celebrity. But you know, if you're doing something that has technically the express logical outcome of being famous and having influence.
Then why would you
even having
be the role model,
having
kind of?
influence doesn't necessarily mean being famous. It also means like starting a business and stuff.
Oh yeah, you're kind of saying it's like, well, why act like, let's say, like let's say for example, if you're trying to be a role model, why act like, you know, a punk before like being the role model, or why have bad habits and tendencies before that? Just try to be the role model.
The implication is that you're joking.
Yeah, but let's say, so that's exactly what we were talking about before, which is why I brought this particular subject up, because prior to you being forced to take responsibility for your thing, most people just say that they were kidding.
If I had a nickel for every time I've told my friends over the year, I should kick your ass or I'm going to kick your ass, I'd have a lot of nickels. But obviously,
I think it's like you guys said, there's a line between like, well, what is like then acting, or those like perceptibly maybe bad habits, like can you classify that as like a bad habit, right? I think that's where Zach's line is like about like how bad it is.
Completely that topic. That reminded me, I forgot that you don't curse, Saba, which really threw me off when I remembered that.
It's so alien to me. Just because it's like humans curse, but then Saba's also a human, so that definition can't be true.
Well, you know, Kyle, I believe he's on Far Harbor, isn't he?
Safe Harbor, yes.
Safe Harbor, yeah. Kyle, I don't know if he does. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but Kyle used to also not curse in high school, and I was best friends with him back then.
It's one of those things where it's just a part of discourse that, like, because it's not like Saba, well, okay, yes, Saba literally doesn't curse, but she still has the, like, generalized vernacular where she just replaces the words like she's Popeye.
Either that or she just avoids situations where she would have to.
Right, exactly, where she'll stop.
There's some ninja shit dodged away.
Some of the words, like some curse words, I'm like they feel like, you know,
they feel
fit
not
to a
great.
certain degree. Like they're like if you're angry, it kind of feels like fitting. But for me, it's like I feel like I'm so used to like a certain degree being around or seeing people that just use it as every other word, and I'm like, that just feels like a lack of vocabulary. And I like to think that I have.
Excuse you, I got a good grade on my vocab test. I know several words.
I'm so happy for you.
I internalized it myself like a while back when you told me that you didn't curse. I internalized it as I just assume you have the exact same emotion as me with the N-word. Where it's just like, if that word were to ever leave my lips, I am pretty sure I would have a heart attack. Like, just even in private.
Severe, but it would definitely feel wrong for me to, if I just like I would be like, dang, that's on accident. I did not mean to say that.
So Saba doesn't feel that bad about saying the N-word? Kidding.
Back
Kidding.
there.
Kidding.
Please, please.
I'm kidding.
Let's
The
hang
show
on,
is
let's trim that-
satire.
Zach, let's trim that sentence down to be more practical. Saba says the N-word?
Oh, God.
No, we're stopping this. We don't have. Luckily, we don't have a fan
Hang on,
base
we
yet.
can-
But
You
Guys,
can trim it
guys,
quicker.
let's not
The
talk
N-word?
about knees anymore. It is impolite to talk about other people's knees, okay?
the
doesn't
knees.
start
That's
with
because of the
K.
K.
Exactly.
Unless you're talking like
glamorous
me,
work.
like
I
Williams,
understand.
isn't like that used to be my last name but isn't anymore.
Anywho, that was
I-
super humorous.
I know that
Yeah.
the stream should be over, but I did want to wrap up this topic a little bit more
That's
succinctly
true.
because I know I brought it up with the express understanding that it might not necessarily be, complete by the time that we finish,
In
but
today's split second.
it was just one of
Here's
those
our
things where.
conclusion. For sure.
Sorry.
Dirty tactics in
These are for sure
the
conclusion. We're not
storm
changing
flame.
this. This is the dynamite, solid steel conclusion we're coming to. Ironclad, bulletproof.
Ironclad
We are
explosive,
gonna We are gonna solve this conundrum for
We
everybody.
will never
right
go
now.
back to this and never change our mind. There's nothing more to say about it. We concluded it.
But I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like I think about it quite often, mostly because I would really like it if I was some sort of like online influencer. Like that'd be fucking sick. Just because it makes me feel like life would be a lot easier. But the level of people on the internet who just don't want to take that responsibility because they don't have to. And so I think about that where it's just like, I wonder if that's because it's not like they have anonymity, right? Because it's tied to their persona and their like literal person. But it's just like, I wonder what percentage of people would actively take responsibility for the things that they do and say if they didn't have to. Right? Like you remember in Ready Player One, the Oasis, where everybody could just, or I guess VR chat in general, right? Where it's like everybody could just
4chan.
have, sorry?
4chan.
4chan, like things that have anonymity, where you're not required to take responsibility for the things that you say and do. And it's just like, I don't know, it leads to a lot of obvious bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if people are susceptible to that, because I think by a certain point in my mind, I would just be like, I don't believe anything anymore on like 4chan. It's better not to believe anything.
It's
than to believe
interesting how in 4chan that's one of the selling points where like, oh, you don't need to be accountable.
It's anonymity.
whereas-
Yeah.
But the anonymity is the selling point, whereas if you become like a influencer guy, it's not a selling point. It's kind of a vague.
It's
you
a
can
detriment
kinda
that
get
no
away
one
with
wants,
it.
but it happens, yeah.
Kind of, but also you can kind of go away with it a little bit. Like you don't have to be accountable for everything, you say.
I guess not. But, I don't know, man. I just think about it where it's just like,
I think a lot of thoughts about a lot of things.
I do, man, I
I
do.
like to-
Have you seen that song? I love that song.
Oh, I
It's
have not,
very
I've
old,
not
but
seen
I
that
love it.
song, no.
It's a Red and Link song. I love it. Hang on. It's just a song where it's these guys positing a bunch of hypotheticals that are just weird and stoner at those, but they're like, I think a lot of thoughts about a lot of things and how deep they are.
so me on stream is what you're telling me.
Kind of, but I feel like you posit more substantive stuff that isn't meant to rhyme.
Oh, that isn't meant to rhyme. That's a good qualifier.
But it's supposed to take a lot of time.
Boom, I
It's
killed
a good
something.
video. If you want to give it a watch or a listen.
There was a slightly tangential part of this conversation that I wanted to bring up momentarily.
I thought we were trying to close this off, Zach. Why?
I
are you
gotta finish the
tangenting again?
race.
And how long is this race?
I mean,
Until
it's
it
about to be
places.
done, but it's like I don't know. I don't necessarily feel satisfied with this conversation. But I guess that's just something that I'm gonna have to be okay with.
You're gonna have to
That
take
is the nature of
accountability
some
for
things sometimes.
That doesn't really apply here, but you know, whatever. God, is the stream being awful or is that just my Discord?
I don't.
It's
No,
smooth
my
as silk
eyes
on Twitch, but
are
then on
hurting
Discord
for it.
it's like it's stuttering the hell out.
It might be.
Oh, it's
it might be
stuttering
Discord.
a little bit. It's stuttering a little bit for me.
On Twitch it's fine though, so I'm watching on Twitch.
Oh, you know what? I did just remember what I was gonna say, because I remember that this was actually a follow-up I was thinking about putting into banter topics, and this is only a slight follow-up, but it has to do with one of the most notorious conversations that Saba, Lawrence, and myself had during the Pathless, which was
Not the MILF conversation, please.
no,
God,
not the
no.
MILF conversation. That's a really fucking good joke, Saba.
I was like, don't dredge up my dark past anymore, Zach.
No.
Yes, hang on, we gotta bring this up. I have to watch this VOD now.
Have you not heard the MILF story?
I have not. Was Saba at one point a MILF?
No, she never
Okay.
was. Maybe one
I
day.
was gonna say,
But
you said your
I
dark
was-
past implying like you were at one point a MILF.
No, it was just embarrassing because I'd forgotten the word myth. I knew the word started with an M and like, you know, ended
and it
in
had an
like,
F in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Saba-
like-
Saba
Milfos.
wanted to say that something she was miffed at something, but what she actually said was that she was
Yeah.
milfed at something.
Yeah,
and then
that-
Lawrence and
so
I
that word
laughed
came-
for fucking 15 minutes solid. Well,
I
like
was
not
highly
at
embarrassed.
Saba, but just at the situation in general because it was really
Oh,
funny.
I thought you were confusing the word myth, like mythos, like Greek myth.
Oh
No,
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 myth,
myth.
like you're miffed at something.
Yeah, like, I hadn't
Confusing
used the
myth
word
with
in a
MILF
while.
is also pretty good, where you're like, did you hear about the MILF where Zeus?
where Zeus comes down from on high. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, so that's my
So
dark
I
past.
know I just started another race, but it's
Milfos.
because I wanted to bring up this like slightly tangential topic before we.
I gotta eat
before-
soon, man. My food's getting cold.
Give me like 1 second. It'll be really quick because this is a racing game and everything's really quick.
That's not how this works.
It does. Everything's really quick. I promise.
Hurry.
I will hurry. I'm hurrying literally as fast as I can. That's what the game is.
faster.
Stop
All right.
fillering with words. Topic.
Well, then stop. All right. But it was one of the most notorious conversations that we ever had, and I still think about it all the time because it came from a genuine place, but once again, it just came out very bad. But it was the oh, I fucking crashed myself. It was the premise. I guess it boiled down to the premise of the fundamental human desire to want the benefits of something without wanting to deal with any of the repercussions of something. And the reason why this particular conversation was notorious while we were playing the Pathless was that the topic was brought up under the context of me not really having any sympathy for people who were inherently attractive.
Ah, yes, the attractive thing.
Yeah,
That doesn't
it,
paint you very well. I can see that. Yes.
yes, because it was one of those things where like my intention behind the thing was that you know, people who use their naturally good looks for like unrequited gain, while also
Sometimes not even purposefully used. Sometimes it just happens to them.
right, but
because
that
they're
doesn't.
attractive.
But that's still like the outcome is still the same, I guess.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, even like unpurposefully, this could happen.
Right, if
Yeah.
a dude was just inherently attractive, but he never really realized it, and because of that, he got like a lot of like job positions that otherwise wouldn't have come to him if he was less attractive. Like that's a part of this example, I suppose. But I think about that again, and once again, that might not necessarily be the best version of this particular conversation, but it does still become fuck, I didn't see that there was a poll there. It does still become semi-relevant because the whole influencer thing that we just talked about is kind of the same thing, where if somebody either purposefully or accidentally becomes an influencer, for the most part, they don't want to take responsibility for the new power and benefits that it gives them, but they
There
still
are so many
take the
detriments though to that as well, and that's where I came in with like, dang, it is. But I mean, we're also talking about people that maybe not like didn't, I guess, want to become that famous that fast. So I guess I'm gonna ignore
But once
what I'm
again,
saying.
Saba, that
Continue.
comes to the point that I was
Yeah.
saying before, where it's like,
Yeah.
if you did something by accident that led to you being famous, depending on what it is that you did, like if you were, like I said, if Adrian and Jonah were just like, you know, having fun making YouTube videos and they inadvertently become YouTube famous, they should have, like,
Well,
that's a possibility
okay.
that they should have planned for.
Well, wait. In this instance, I think this is a little bit different actually, because it's like attractiveness is like inherent, like you grow up with it, right?
Well,
And
sometimes.
unless you're
Things
like
to help it.
you can, but like I'm talking about like, you know, the naturally pretty, I guess. Those are like, I think they usually get more praise sometimes.
Those things.
Those
Those
things
things.
getting naturally more attractive as they grow old.
creatures.
So it's like
Vile
they've been,
creatures.
It's more an
crashed
instance
4
of
times this race.
they've been growing up with it, and so they've been dealing with it for a lot longer versus like it happening overnight.
Well,
I mean, there are influencers.
I feel like
There's a whole thing of like all the work that you don't see versus the work that you do see. There's people that become influencers after grinding at it for a very long time too.
Yeah,
Like
that,
our- like
and
RT
that's what I'm saying.
games.
That's why I feel like sometimes like well the beauty thing is a little weird.
you're really
comparing it.
hung up on the idea of it being an overnight thing, and I don't know why that you're hung up on that, because for me, at least in terms of the influencer thing, I don't care if it's overnight. The fact that you became an influencer now means that you have to take more responsibility for the things that you say and do.
No, and I would say that's fine. I think it's just
Like if
right
you
now,
have, like
it's
if
more
you
of,
like I don't know, maybe
think
this is me
beauty,
being like
comparing it
maybe
to
this is me
beauty
being
is a
like
bit
ultra
weird.
maybe this is me being like ultra liberal or whatever. I don't even know what the word might be. But like if you have access to inhuman levels of influence or resources for whatever reason, that means that you also should take inhuman levels of responsibility, I think.
I understand what you mean. I think I'm more or less saying like comparing it to like the beauty thing and like attractiveness is a little. I think it like attractiveness is so weird in of itself. It's harder to compare it to.
Because
but, like, I
attractiveness is
understand what you're
largely a
saying.
product of like marketing, right? So it's like that's like a weird
Like
thing. That's a
trends and
weird
stuff.
because that's like a weird thing to.
In American society, unibrows are not attractive, but there might be a society where unibrows are like the hot shit.
Exactly. Right. So a person in place A might not be attractive while in place B they are. And it's one of those weird things where it's just like being attractive has a consummate, like, you know, people have done research showing that being more attractive does lead to like long-term benefits over the course of your entire life. But does the person have to take responsibility with that? I don't know. Anywho,
Yeah.
stream's over. Good night, everybody.
Now I can eat my chicken sandwich.
Good night, stream.